Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 501, Parenting in Video Games, recorded live on August 13th, 2015. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I'm your host, Duststorm.
And I'm your other host, Haas.
And we are here for a very, very special episode of Podtacular tonight. We're kind of going off the trail of Halo-specific stuff, and we're actually going to be talking about a wider topic in the video game sense. We're actually going to be talking about parenting in video games. And just as a recap, we'd had our 500th episode, 10-year anniversary celebration at RTX this past weekend. So thanks to everyone that came out and helped us celebrate. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the love and support that we got from both our community and the Halo community at large. So thank you guys very much for all the support that you guys gave. But to start things off, we have a panel of guests on tonight to kind of help us dive into the whole parenting aspect. Because one, I am not the parent, so I can't really attest to a lot of that stuff. And two, I think we need a little more varied opinion other than just Mr. Haas. No offense, but it'd be nice to have some other.
I would definitely want more advice on this.
He's not really a parent.
Yeah.
I've
only been at it for 2.5 years. I'm hardly an expert.
So first on the guest list, we have Mr. Ducain, 23.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back.
It's nice being here. After my mic was all messed up and everything, so
yay.
Yeah, let's see how long it lasts.
Yeah. Well, you're stable for now, so let's hope that goes on for a good while. Next on the guest list is Ovaryacting from the PMS Clan. Welcome back.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Next up on the list is BelleBunny. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the craziness.
I'm so excited.
As we've already determined from the pre-show. Yeah. Next up we have Axiomm. I believe that's how you say it. Axiomm84 from Dads of Destiny.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Podtacular. And last but not least, we have Grimm. Or at least that's what he told me to call him.
Absolutely. I like that.
So we're going to be talking quite a bit about parents and gaming, and I'm going to kind of moderate the discussion. It's going to be more of a roundtable type of discussion for tonight. But first thing, I want to talk about a little bit of Halo news that happened recently, and that was Halo 5 Guardians getting a teen rating. This is something that has taken the Halo community, especially kind of the adult community side of things, a little by surprise, because Halo has been traditionally a mature rated game in the past, all the way up through Halo 4, and now it's gotten a teen rating. So there's kind of some thoughts going into this that it might just be because of the change of times, or there was something that you could... I saw some argument on Twitter where you could shoot Marines in the past, and because you could actually kill humans, it was rated M, and now because you're really only having the chance to kill other aliens, that's not part of it, and then the whole online is not rated by ESRB type of thing also doesn't take into account to the ratings. So it's not quite controversial, but it's definitely been one of those discussion points that I've seen come up over the past couple of days. What's kind of the general consensus in here of Halo 5 Guardians getting a teen rating when it's been traditionally an M-rated game? And anyone feel free to jump in here.
Actually, I'm kind of wondering if it might not be because of the drop of Cortana as well.
Okay.
Bringing out that sexy character. Up the ratings.
I mean, come on. We've got to look at it. I mean, Cortana, classically, her design, her outfit, everything over the years, she has been kind of that sexy avatar of Halo.
Very true.
Yeah.
And dropping her from the franchise, I think, may have changed some of it, too.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, I know in Green Skull's newest video, like you talked about it and stuff like that, but he talked about how in Halo 4 there's that face melting scene, where basically you can see the muscles, like the skin gets melted off when and then you see the muscles and stuff like that, kind of like the Indiana Jones type thing. Yeah, and so that that's understandable. That may be a bit more of a mature rating, is because you actually see like the muscle underneath the skin and everything. But I don't know, maybe with Halo 5 they of course don't have anything like that, and then maybe they kind of tweak the blood splatter, off of like shooting your own people, which I'm gonna do that a lot. I don't care. But it could just be that maybe there's not as much cussing because
I would say that's the one that always stuck out to me.
Yeah, there's cussing in campaign and all that stuff also. So
yeah, the whole military talk.
Yeah.
Not to pull in too much from my background here with Destiny, but I also can't help but wonder. I mean, there's obviously there's friendliness, but there's some competitiveness between the two companies. There kind of has to be. And because Destiny is rated T when it was originally going to be rated, I can't help but wonder if maybe that's part of it too, is opening up to some audiences that they might otherwise close out if they stuck with the M rating.
I don't know. I don't think Halo has any issues with an audience whatsoever.
Well, no, but
yeah, I was a teenager playing Halo, so teenagers are still gonna play Halo, so might as well just lower the.
Well, yeah, and it's also like nowadays things like you look at movies, stuff like that. Isn't Avengers like it's not whatever R rating and all that type of stuff, and that has a lot more, I guess, violence and stuff like that. So I think things are getting a little bit more lenient also with games, because you look at the original Halo, that's rated M, and you look at that's nothing, compared to some games nowadays that are even also rated T and stuff. So
yeah, and I do know that with modern movie ratings, as far as language wise, to receive an R rating, you have to drop the F-bomb at least 4 times in the movie before it will get an R rating for it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I think it's just changing with the times. I mean, it's becoming more prevalent in society. So, I mean, why try and hide it if it's going to be there anyway?
I mean, I would say the same thing, because I'm looking at the ratings right now, the ESRB ratings, and Halo 5 Guardians rated T for teen for blood, mild language, and violence. And Halo 4 got a mature rating for blood and violence only. But another thing, too, is that Halo Spartan Assault got a teen rating for violence and blood. So, I mean, the content descriptors, it's kind of hard to say it off of that specifically. But I think you guys are right pretty much. And this is kind of what I'm thinking, is that it's just moving with the times. There's a lot more leniency with how the current society is in accepting that kind of stuff. It's a lot more commonplace. Mm-hmm. It's not as, I guess, offensive would be the right term to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just don't think I don't think it's an issue. I know some people complain about it and stuff. It's like, why does it even matter? They're not gonna make if they do have, rated mature. It's not like they're going to be like, oh, we're going to add all this crazy stuff into it. They would probably just, lower some of the, maybe blood splatter a little bit. Like it's still there, but it's probably maybe just not as much or something. Just something very minute that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and I don't think it, for our standpoint, I don't think it matters that much. I mean, we're about to have a podcast about that kind of stuff, so we'll dive into that in a little more detail here in a minute. But one of the things that really pops into mind for me is that whenever something happens with video games, or some incident or event happens that can get tied to video games in some aspect, the media will always blow up about something or some kid doing something because of tied to violent video games and yada yada yada. So while I don't think it's maybe an issue for a lot of parents who are actually in the know of what kind of games that they're playing and what their kids are playing, I think the bigger impact to this is going to be, what about those parents that aren't as educated or aren't as involved with their kids, where they just go out and blindly buy these games for their kids because the kids, they say they just want them, and then whenever the parents hear kids say or do something and start to get all uppity up that my kid learned this from a video game that was rated M, well, now it's rated teen. So does that mean that it's not going to be as much of an issue now? Or is there a little more like...
As a person
I see that becoming another issue with... They're going to start going after the video game companies again, or the ratings about, well, why was this rated teen when it should have had a mature rating? We've seen it in the past. It's happened where a game got a rating that was either higher or lower than what it deserved, and people complained. Unfortunately, this day and age of video gaming and with the internet, people are going to complain no matter what. There's always going to be a rant and a flame war about something involving a video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see that that's what's going to happen is if parents make the mistake and buy this game without having done the research beforehand, they're going to want to blame the game company initially. And then the game company, of course, is going to blame it off on the ratings system. And it's just going to be a cluster.
As someone who sells video games, I probably get 1 out of 200 parents who even ask what the little letter in the corner means.
Mm.
They just say, my kid wants Grand Theft Auto. And I look at the kid,
God.
and it's like 6 inches taller than my daughter, and I'm, okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Can I read you why this is rated this way?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what now, because I do spend a little bit of time in my local GameStop. I'm good friends with both the manager and assistant manager. You would not believe the amount of times that I have seen a parent pull up outside and send their kid in after a game. The kid grabs the game, goes to the counter, and the manager informs them that they need to go get a parent because the game is rated M for mature and they cannot and will not sell it to a minor. So the kid goes out and gets their parent. Their parent comes in a huff with an attitude.
Yeah.
Want to know why?
And they slam their ID on the counter?
Yeah,
Love
want to know
that.
why they've got to come in. It's just a video game for their kid. And it's like, people, there are ratings for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it just baffles me. I mean, I sit there as a parent myself. I sit there stunned going, are you people really this stupid? Are you so caught up in your own life and your own personal things that you got going on that you can't worry about what your kids are buying?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Somebody agrees.
There's going to be plenty of like that on the podcast, so get comfortable, guys.
Yes, get comfortable. We've got children.
Yes, there are children floating around. I think mine may have finally wandered off to bed. I don't know.
I sold my kids, for this podcast.
Man.
No.
Oh, gosh. That's wrong.
Where?
Hopefully they have a good buyback program.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was getting tired of Aiden's attitude.
I couldn't sell mine. I'd have to pay somebody.
Just take them.
Back on the rated T, I think this is a story that shouldn't be a story. Honestly,
Yeah.
I agree.
If I wasn't such a big fan of the Halo franchise, I probably wouldn't know the difference if it was T or M. If they
Still, the deal
put it
is
on
though,
the inside.
if they wouldn't have said anything and the game just came out, or something, and no one noticed the T rating, no one would have said anything. No one would have went, "Oh my gosh, there's not a little bit more blood on there," or whatever it is that they kind of had to, minimize. Which thinking about it, like with the cussing on the Marines and stuff in the campaign, since you're going to be rolling with your squad, there may not be necessarily, because it's not just like random Marines and stuff. They actually have better dialogue and everything. So there's probably not going to be cussing involved with your squad and everything. So like blue team and stuff, they're not going to be cussing and everything. That's probably also something that just made a little difference.
And Spartans just don't get stressed out in situations that a Marine would. That totally makes sense.
It's like Promethean.
A total lore. Yeah, it's like, who cares?
Yes.
We just shoot these guys and we'll just keep moving.
Well, it's just one of those things that a lot of the facade behind gaming culture and the gaming element is definitely one of the sticky things with mass media. And it has gotten better. We have seen over time that there's a lot more acceptance. And as the gaming culture and as gaming society, for lack of a better term, grows, there's a lot more acceptance of that. So it's almost like we're seeing that transition. But it's, to your point, Haas, it shouldn't be a story, but the fact that it is still says that there's a long way to go in terms of educating parents and actually have parents being involved with game purchasing decisions and being involved with their kids actually playing games. That's definitely a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. But I just wanted to bring that up. That was one of the kind of the big Halo news things that went on this week. And I thought since it's relevant, since we're talking about parenting and gaming, that we might have a little discussion about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think part of it too is a lot of that culture is going to start changing now because, as we all know, you look at the demographics right now. The majority of your main video gamers are the 28 to 34-year-old adult with a family. So we know what's in the video games because we play them. We know what our kids are playing, so we know what they should or shouldn't be playing. Back in our early days of gaming, when I was a kid and whatnot, the most my dad ever played was Gauntlet on Nintendo with me.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
My parents never played anything.
Epic. So a lot of parents back then, they didn't understand the gaming as it grew and developed, and they didn't understand the ratings, and that games were almost more violent, more bloody, more sexual than any movie you could throw out there. They just knew it was something that kept their kids entertained. Yeah. And that has changed.
I don't know if I agree with that because you look at what's on TV today. I mean, has anybody watched like Game of Thrones? And there's no video game.
That was bound to come up in this conversation.
Oh man! No. First, try watching Game of Thrones. I don't know what episode it was. You go over to like my wife's aunt and uncle's house and stuff, and my sister-in-law and everyone's all over there and stuff. And then all of a sudden, Game of Thrones comes on, so we start watching it because some of them haven't seen it. And this episode where I think it's what's the name, Littlefinger or something. He was directing two lesbians in his little whorehouse, and and it lasted for like 10 minutes.
That was awkward. That was the first episode my wife sat down to watch with me, and she's like,
it lasted
this
for
is
like
what you watch?
And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Like, sister-in-law, she's younger and stuff whenever she was watching it and everything. Like, I mean, she's like 7 years younger than Jennifer and stuff. And it's just like, this is so awkward right now.
I mean, you don't even need to go to those subscription channels. You can go to shows like The Walking Dead or Hannibal was on NBC. And I don't know if any of you guys have watched that. I just finished the first season. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And Spartacus used to be on, I think it was Showtime.
Yeah.
And it was just as bad as Game of Thrones. But you can find it on like Sci-Fi and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now we want to go sci-fi shows, though. Now, granted, they cut Spartacus a lot. I've seen both the sci-fi version and the original uncuts. But Lost Girl.
Never seen it.
Unfamiliar.
All right.
I watched a little bit of that. Yeah.
For a sci-fi show that was on a standard cable network.
It would get a little raunchy.
Did it not? Short
it did.
Short of seeing nipple, there was almost full boob in I don't know how many episodes.
Well, was it Lost Girl or Bitten or one of those showed full frontal male nudity, and it's on like Sci-Fi or something like that. So
yeah.
Which I mean is unheard of in television, but
and also doesn't that happen? It doesn't happen that often. Just to show male nudity.
No.
First of all, they just.
Well, that's disgusting.
Get that show off the air.
Well, see, I'm still of the opinion that we can get by with showing topless guys, but topless girls are a no-no. Since when?
I know we need more boobs on everything. Come on.
Hey, when I'm allowed to go to like a beach and wear what you wear at the beach, then we can talk.
Hey,
till then.
I know several beaches. Oh.
Okay.
When you got the chest hair that I do.
I'll work on that. I'll get started.
I walk to the beach with a blanket on my chest. I don't know about you.
Now, I'm going to catch hell for this later, but Axe, you know what that just reminded me of?
No.
Kittens and her comments about the hairy back.
God.
I love the musical number we got going in the background. That really adds flavor. Please don't keep going.
Musical accompaniment in the background.
I'll get my daughter to come and sing "Let It Go" for everybody.
Oh man.
No, please.
I was going to say,
I've heard enough of that. No, I don't need that.
Now it'll be stuck in your head because now it's stuck in my head. So,
dang it! Damn you, Haas!
You're welcome.
You were saying, Belle?
I was just gonna say what you were saying about. I'm gonna get all serious here again. Sorry.
Thanks for bringing it back on track.
Yep. I'm doing your job for you. No.
New host.
Because Haas isn't doing it, so No.
Co-host. I'm not supposed to direct this.
Co-hosts aren't supposed to. Okay, I understand. No, but I was just gonna say what you were saying about that. Because we're the ones playing the games, we know what our kids should and shouldn't play, and we're sitting here talking about the same thing with TV shows and movies. But the thing is that still puts all the responsibility is on us to make sure we actually do that. Just because we're the ones playing it doesn't mean we're going to filter it as well. Because I feel like a lot of times it's like we play it so we get used to it, so we don't see the things that maybe we should filter our children from.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're going through that stage right now where my daughter's starting to have more and more influence on her dreams from what she watched. We watched Doc McStuffins. And she had a nightmare. She had a nightmare because there was a monster, and it legit scared my daughter. I'm sitting here and was like, it looks like a stuffed animal, but I'm totally desensitized to it, and seeing it come from her now.
Now that's something.
And that's talking about on a minor scale, and now it's we play these games that we're living every day as we're playing them. It's like we become kind of desensitized to what we're experiencing. So how well do we actually filter it for other people then?
Yeah. Aiden has actually seen a commercial for Walking Dead, and which he loves zombies though. That's one thing. But the thing is though, it was whenever he was younger than what he is now. He's almost 3 now, but. Whenever he first saw that commercial, I remember that night he was having nightmares because he was talking about monsters and all that stuff. Which of course we don't let him watch Walking Dead. Don't think we let him watch Walking Dead or anything.
Carl!
Yeah, it's like just show him all the zombies getting ripped up in their faces and everything. Which although Aiden all the time, he does say zombies, and it's one of those things where as a parent and stuff, as a kid, it's like you don't want people to think you're such a terrible parent, because there's been times where I've been streaming Halo and Aiden sits next to me and stuff, and we're playing Drive or Die or something, in Halo 3, and so there's a whole bunch of zombies, and Aiden's like, ooh, zombie, since he knows, he hears me talking about, zombies and stuff like that in Halo. And so, it's one of those things where it's just I don't want everyone to think that I'm just letting them do whatever, and all that stuff. Because, of course, I've had comments, especially on that YouTube video that I upload where, his Q&A thing. I've had some people give some comments about, oh, you're terrible letting them see Halo. And stuff. It's
you monster.
It's that's the thing. I don't think Halo is necessarily that bad. Now, of course, I'm not going to, I'm going to wait a while to let him actually play it and stuff. But he's going to have to wait even longer to play online because there's people more console with their dirty mouths and stuff like that.
I completely agree with that. To play the game.
Calling them out, dang.
Yeah.
To play the game is one thing, but once you start putting the kids online where there's other people, that's a completely different.
You can't control the uncontrollable.
Right.
That's true, because you also have the difference between being able to tell them that something is a movie or a game, that's not real, and sit down and talk with them about what that means, right, and explain it to them and show them that it's not something they have to necessarily be afraid of, but they also shouldn't be desensitized to it necessarily. But when you're talking about the experience with real people online, one, you have so little control over it, and two, it's much more personal then. They get those things said to them. Yes, More Console may have a dirty mouth in his videos, but it's not aimed, unless, when he wants to Destiny once he calls you a bastard. But, it's not aimed at you.
Right.
And so it's there's a big difference between a 12 or younger being called something horrible because of somebody they're trusting in a game that they're enjoying.
Yeah.
Versus,
and most of the time,
a swear word thrown in.
A lot of times it's those 12-year-olds that are the ones that are, saying terrible things. A lot of times most of the time, most of the older people, they rage, they may cuss or something, be say the F word or something here and there, but they're not necessarily directing it to people. They're just
it's more on
killed
yourself
or something
than it is anything else.
Right. See, I think we say that too much though. I'm not going to call you wrong here, but I think that we too often blame the young generations and say that it's 90% them, because in recent personal experience, I guarantee you some of my personal experiences lately were not from 12-year-olds. And they're the ones that took it so much further. And so like,
what I mean by younger is I'm talking about teen stuff, like, 20 under. I just call that younger. I'm old now. I could say that.
Okay.
I
just feel like too often we do this, like, it's like the really young kids that are causing the problems, but I still say, even if that is the case, even if that was what you were saying, I'd still say that falls on us because they're learning it somewhere.
Yeah. So I want to hold off on getting to the online discussion first. I want to get more of the actual. No, it's okay. I mean, it's discussion, so it's all good.
Direct us, Dustin.
That's what I'm trying to do. I am just trying to fulfill my role here. Thanks.
This podcast is rated T for teen.
Actually, that is what we try to keep it to. You will notice that in most of the episodes, I go out and bleep all the curse words. So we try to keep it family friendly here. But I want to kind of touch on something that was said earlier between the group here, and that how just being in video games as we get desensitized to certain aspects. And I'm going to drop some things that I've heard from other parents, like in talking with them. So like JVB has done many videos and podcasts. He was one of our previous co-hosts, and he's done numerous talks about parenting and how he involves his kids with the stuff that he does in gaming. And one of the things that I've seen him talk about, and I've seen a lot of other like gaming blogs talk about, is being involved with your kids, being there and talking about what's going on in the game, talking about what their experience is like, what certain things are supposed to mean. So kind of going back to the thing about us being desensitized, do you think that and I'm assuming everyone here pretty much, you're gaming with your kids, so you know the interactions that they're having with the game, you're seeing the experience, and you're there to explain to them if they have any questions. So do you think that could be a part where you can understand where you're desensitized to certain areas, and then you can help educate your kids in that area? Or you think there's kind of a gap there that a lot of people that are older that game really need to be more aware of?
Well, I can see a little bit of both. I play a lot of both, PC and console gaming, and have throughout my son's whole life. Now, granted, he's 13 now, so he's at that kind of in between age on what he can and can't be around. Violence in games, as far as the fantasy violence and fake blood and gore, I'm not so bad about around him, because I've explained to him that, it's a video game or it's a movie and it's not real. It's, you can't actually go out and do these things. Now, turn around and play a game like God of War or Conan that suddenly there's nudity in. No, those games are not allowed in the house while he is up, because that's now a whole nother ball game. And that's something that as parents, we have to, being gamers and parents, we have to decide what is right with ourselves and our children and how we've raised them, and what we feel is comfortable for them to view or play, whether we're comfortable with them, being around the fantasy violence and they know that it's fake and understand that, versus some of the more adult content like language, nudity, the GTA games. No, sorry.
Yeah. I think we know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GTA is a great kids game.
You can go golfing. You can fly a plane. You can ride a train.
Yeah.
That's all they can blow it all up.
Yeah. And now they've got animals, so you can show them the puppies and the cats.
Yeah, I have a 16-year-old nephew who plays GTA 5, and I'm every time he tries to fire it up, I'm like, no, not while you're here with me. I don't care what you do at home with your mother or no, but not here in my house.
Yeah, that's one of those things also, like, I don't know with a lot of things, I don't know what age necessarily, like me and my wife, we've talked about it and stuff, like what age we're going to let Aiden start playing Halo. Like, of course we're going to start him off with CE and stuff and just like let him play campaign and everything. Well, I don't know what age we're going to let him start doing that. Now, of course, things like Nintendo games like Mario, he can start really young with that type of stuff, just because that's it. Nintendo's great for kids. They have that on lock. That's also probably why they're not doing as well. But
probably.
Well, and they have the most awkward controls in the
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I love Super Smash Bros, but the controllers are really, really weird.
Yeah, and their consoles come out basically behind all the PS4, Xbox One type of consoles. Like,
no, because the Wii U came out before.
Well, I mean, behind on like their power and stuff like that. Like, basically, Wii U's like a 360 and PS3.
I mean, I'll give Nintendo this. They're innovative.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But they're just.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like it's one of those things where we're going to be, of course, starting out Aiden playing like probably the SNES that we have and stuff. Like basically start out with the old school stuff, move up, so he's not just playing new games and everything. But then we don't know whenever, like it's stuff like GTA. It's one of those things where whenever I don't even remember whenever I started playing GTA. I know I was older and stuff, but it was just one of those things where I don't even know. Like that's going to be one of those things where I don't even know if I want him playing that really at all. Like I don't know, just because it's such a terrible game. Like it's
so
fun.
Doesn't that tell you something about the game overall? It's like you're okay with playing it yourself. You're okay with somebody else's kid maybe plays it, but your own kid. But isn't that how
parents? Aren't you supposed to be like, you're not supposed to follow in my footsteps?
Do as I say, not as I do.
I was just about to say that.
It's just one of those things where it's like I don't really know. It is GTA. It's a fun game and everything, but it's a terrible game. For people to play. Especially like the newest one that I couldn't even get through that. Like it was tough. The part where Trevor had to torture that dude. I don't know. That was just one of those things. And same thing with Call of Duty. They had that one. I forget which Call of Duty it was, where you're actually the terrorist and you shoot all the people.
Call of Duty 2.
Yeah, where you shoot all the people. Oh man, that's one of those things.
Messed me up.
Yeah, and I know you could skip it and stuff like in Call of Duty and everything, but it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to skip it. Like
it's like don't touch the button, and it's like right in front of you all day.
Yeah,
you're gonna touch the button.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're gonna play it because it's there. You want to experience the full thing and stuff, but then once you play it, then you're like, I didn't want to experience that, But
I think one of the I can't really talk a whole lot yet because my daughter's only 1.5 years. We let her play on Destiny. Sort of, but
under adult supervision.
Exactly. So she doesn't eat the controller. But
are those things rated for children? I guess
we need to come up with a child. People buy controllers for babies where they bite it.
They're rubber instead of
my
plastic.
husband wants to start like this. He wants to start like a line for like. He wanted to call it Daddy Gamer Gear or whatever, but like it would literally be things like a cover or like a new case you can put on your controller that's completely like waterproof and chewy, or like a headset that can like link to your baby monitor so that when the baby cries, it cuts in with your cuts your game audio out.
That would be amazing.
Or like those Nerf
nobody steal
bumpers.
it.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I feel like one of the most important things is no matter what game you let your child play, it's the talking about reality versus the game is super important.
Absolutely.
Not just defaulting to, it's a game, it's not real, but just talking about, okay, in real life, that's not something you do. This is what would happen. This is why you don't do that. This is how it hurts people, and help them separate those two things enough so that if they do play a game, because let's be honest, no matter how much we protect them, they're going to go to a friend's house at some point. That's where I saw all my horror movies was at friends' houses.
There's sometimes you see some terrible stuff just on the news. And everything.
And that's the thing. I think it's talking about that reality versus game, but also how to process both. So I think as long as a kid has somebody there, like at least I remember when I'm one of those people that I've never touched GTA. I watched somebody play it once. I'm like, nope, I'm good, thank you. That's just like a personal choice. But I've been that way about movies too. I hate horror movies because I hate blood and gore. Like it bugs me. I was one of those kids where like I like scary things. Better. I just don't like nasty. But like I was one of those kids where I'd go to a friend's house, I'd see a horror movie, it would like affect me for the next like 3 months of my life. But I always had a mom who like I could tell her and talk it through with her. And I feel like that's really important to a kid too, is to have like that knowledge that there's somebody in their life they can go talk to if they see something or play something that upsets them.
Yeah.
I agree 100% there. Now, I grew up, unfortunately, I've got a sister who's 5.5 years older than me. And so I grew up in a household where, my dad was big into horror movies. My sister liked them. I ended up desensitized at a very young age to horror. The only movies I think ever actually bothered me was the Poltergeist series when it first came out. And fortunately, I had my mom around too who could sit and talk. Because my dad, he's a Vietnam vet, construction worker. He's your epitome of the whole macho man, Tennessee farm boy, doesn't talk about his feelings type going on. But I always had my mom around. And so I could go to her and say, hey, I had a bad dream or this happened, and we could sit and discuss it. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to carry that over with my child. Now, fortunately, my son, if we start a scary movie that we're unsure of ourselves, we'll give him the option that he can either try to watch it with us if he feels he's comfortable with it, or he can let us watch it and see what we think. Or if he gets, 5-10 minutes in and realizes that it's going to be too scary for him, he will actually get up and go ahead and go to bed. Yeah. And we've been very fortunate with that, even if we're watching something that I didn't get a rating on beforehand or a review, and suddenly there's sexual nudity in the middle of a movie that I didn't expect. At 13, now I remember what I was like at 13, but at 13, he will cover his eyes and turn away from it and try not to view because he knows he's not supposed to be seeing that content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of hijack. My name's Amy. Most of us call me Mouse because the way I sneeze. But to elaborate a little bit on what he was saying, the reason why he explicitly said sexual nudity is because as a 13-year-old, I remember being able to go into my school library and being able to pick up National Geographic. And, they do a lot of nudity type images and stuff. And there was nothing wrong with it. Now, touching a little bit on the going to a friend's house. When I was 16, my grandma let me stay over at a friend's house, and she loved the movie Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey in it.
Great movie.
After watching the movie, I didn't see what my grandma's problem was with it. Now that I'm almost 38 years old, and I have a almost 2-year-old granddaughter, she'll be 2 December 11th. I'm starting
December 11th, that's my birthday. Awesome.
Well, happy early birthday. So as a grandmother of a female, specifically child, I am starting to see why it wasn't necessarily appropriate for a young, impressionable female mind. I, of course, grew up a kind of oddball where I wasn't the girly girl. I didn't do all the hair and the makeup and everything everyone else did. Hated the high school drama, still hate it. I don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense. But kind of wrapping up, I guess my point of view is not necessarily desensitizing against things, but it's a matter of maturity level. If your child is raised where, hey, this part is okay, but this part you should be older, and you explain to them, much like Belle said earlier, talk with them, explain to them why this is appropriate and what's not, and you'd be surprised the results. And that's why I kind of hijacked the conversation for a minute, is because that's what we did with our son. We never talked down to him. We explained to him everything. I mean, he was the only 4-year-old that was in his pre-K class that knew where his hamburger and chicken nuggets came from. He understood why his Hot Wheel track worked the way it did from kinetic energy. You just, they are miniature humans, and you have to treat them that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, too many parents don't explain things properly to their children. They either don't have the time in these busy lives we lead nowadays, or they just don't have the care and the concern, and unfortunately, because we are in a technological and internet-based world, our children are flooded with information daily, constantly, from multiple sources. And if you've not explained things to them and don't sit down and talk with them, you honestly don't realize what they're learning and how they're learning.
Yeah, and that's also like I've gotten some comments and stuff in some of my videos that I think it was mainly the like Q&A videos whenever me and Jennifer talk about stuff. But you know, like there's on that point of explaining to your kids and everything. I know this is going off the gaming thing, but I don't know what y'all feel about any of this, but since, you know, most of y'all know that I'm from Texas, so I do believe in having guns. And so this is just something like, I also believe the same type of thing. Like it's the same deal. Like whenever we've talked to Aiden about our guns, because we have guns in the house and everything. Now, of course, they're locked up and stuff. We're not going to keep them laying around and everything like that. But it's still one of those things we explain to them, like what they are, you know, what they can do. And that's also why we don't actually like having toy guns in the house and stuff, just because I don't really want him to be able to play with that type of stuff, because it kind of gives the wrong impression a little bit. You know, if you're running around with the toy gun, because then what if he picks up a real gun, and then he could just run around with it playing. So that's why we also do the same thing. We talk with them, tell them about, you know, what guns are. And, you know, Jennifer grew up with her dad. He has tons of guns. Like, I'm not even joking, somewhere probably over 300 guns in his house and stuff. Well, he's a typical redneck, but he, you know, like he did the same thing with Jennifer and her, you know, sisters and stuff like that. Like they talked to him about the kids, like explain to them what they are, you know, and what they could do, and just, you know, treat them more like a normal person, how y'all were saying, you know, like not talking down to them as a kid and stuff. And, you know, they raised knowing to not mess with any of the guns and stuff. Like if for some odd reason they weren't in their cases and stuff, they knew not to mess with them, and they weren't toys and stuff. So I'm just saying, like, that's the same type of thing with gaming.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Because see, I was raised in a gun household. Even though I'm from California originally, my father's ex-Tennessee Vietnam vet. We had firearms. That's all there was to it. I knew where they were. I knew they were normally kept unloaded. But even if I wanted to say show off to one of my buddies, if I ever went and got his rifle out, the very first, he had a lever action 30-30. The very first thing I did was kick the lever open on it and pull the breech to make sure it was unloaded. Yep. Automatically, first thing, no matter what, because gun safety was drilled into me. And I've done the same with my son.
Last present from Santa was it?
When he turned,
for his 10th
when he turned 10, he got a Red Ryder BB gun. And that was one of the first things I tried. I made him, before he actually was allowed to load it,
to even touch it.
Yeah, I made him. It came with a safety brochure, which very well written, by the way. Daisy does an amazing job about firearm safety, even with their air rifles. And it actually had a few full Q&A in it about gun safety. And I made him study that pamphlet and then gave him a full gun safety test before I would even let him put his first BB in it.
Yeah.
It had to be 100%.
There was no miss a question. No. If you missed a question, you better redo it.
And I think that goes back to the whole point where you just need to be educated about what it is you're exposing to your kids, and making sure they understand.
Respect. You know, respect, not fear. I mean, understand what it is. You don't have to be afraid of it. Just understand what it can do and what it is.
I totally have a solution to fix everything. When you go to GameStop and you're going to go buy a game for your child, you have to play the worst parts of the game, and that's how you're able to purchase an M-rated game.
How do I walk forward?
Just stand there and watch all the bad stuff happen. That's all you need to
do. There are probably a lot of parents who would not buy a few games for their kids anymore. They'd be like, this is what you've been playing?
And then there's probably some parents that shouldn't be parents that will still buy like GTA. They're like 8-year-old. It's like, what are y'all doing?
Unfortunately, I have seen some parents like that. I hate to say it, but I have been at some friends' households and you know, they're sitting there and they're playing GTA with their 5-year-old in their lap. And they're, you know, going, hey, check out this hooker and watch me beat her. What are you doing, dude?
Or get the, what is it? What's the GTA, the other game that's started off like GTA, now it's gone just straight up crazy with aliens and stuff. Saints Row. But how about the penetrator weapon in Saints Row?
Yeah.
It's like,
in Dead Rising 3, they have the I don't know if I can say it on the podcast, but there's like a gun where you just shoot, I guess like the penetrator thing, and it goes into the zombies. And I won't play that around like my sis or my daughter or anything. I'm like, no, it's time to put that gun up.
Yeah, now she's piqued my interest because I've not played Dead Rising 3 yet. So now my interest is piqued now.
It's hilarious. It like flaps in the zombie's head. It's just great. I recommend it.
That's one thing. That's also the responsibility of a parent, too. It's just whenever you become a parent, it's just something that you need to realize you're not going to be able to do things that you used to be able to do at least at all times, and everything. Like I don't play things. I basically play Halo and I'll play some, I don't know, just simple like racing games or, just stuff like that all the time. World of Tanks or something, like that's around 8 and it's not really that bad and everything. And then, certain games like GTA, things like that, I'll play once he goes to bed and stuff. And then also same thing with YouTube, watching YouTube. I had to cut out so many YouTube channels that were like my favorite, like probably one of my favorite YouTube channels is Funhouse and, like Rooster Teeth and stuff like that. Can't watch those while
those are
awake
sketchy.
Because, whenever they're really little, really little, like they don't understand anything. Like right now, Tyler is like 5 months or something. That's not going to be an issue or something because it's not like he's going to learn that and repeat, stuff. But once they hit that age where they start learning things, like
making sounds with their mouths,
and stuff, then Aiden, oh my gosh, there's been times where all of a sudden it just popped up like it was watching normal video, or something like that. And it was, then all of a sudden just one word, just one time in that video it said something and he's repeating it just like, oh. And so like I had to totally stop watching Funhouse, any type of more console stuff. I had to stop watching, like anything. Like there's so many YouTube channels that I normally watch that now I just don't do it.
Yeah, they're nap time or after bedtime videos for sure.
Yeah. And then you got to make sure you have your headset on because Aiden's probably over there listening, while watching TV and stuff.
Pretending to sleep.
Yeah, I'm sleeping. Uh-huh.
I was going to say, I have to disagree slightly on the letting it parenthood change your life. Now, you should alter your schedule some, like you said, like after they go to bed or whatever. But as far as censoring all areas, I don't agree with that. As far as the bad language, you would be surprised at how young a child will actually pick up on the language. Our son, I was driving from a town in Oklahoma called Long Grove to my grandmother's in Medill. It's about a 45-minute drive. And I had a bad case of road rage one day, a couple of days prior to this trip. And my son witnessed it. On this particular trip, he witnessed a similar action take place, and out of the back seat, I hear him say the B word in the male form. And I looked over at him. I said, "What did you just say?" And of course, he claps both hands over his mouth, thinking, "No, I'm in trouble." And he was in trouble. I said, You don't say that word. That is a mommy-daddy word. You can say bonehead instead. And I gave him the option to have a alternative word that he could use. Now, whenever he did use it in excess, just like 5-6 times in a row, I'd get on to him going, "Hey, once was enough." And he eventually got the idea before he was even 4 and went into pre-K that hey, even the alternative word can be bad if we use it too much. And that's why I said you can't underestimate the intelligence of a child.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know he picks up stuff because he's repeated things and everything. But the thing is, this is also different parenting, too. Like, I'm not saying one is better than the other or worse than the other or something like that. Cause, parents have different, like some parents, they cuss and stuff and then some don't, and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, cause, it's just your, like what you do and stuff. Like personally, most people know I don't cuss at all. Like, I don't say anything, I guess unless you say crap as a cuss word, but I still don't ever say that around Aiden and stuff. That's basically the extent of my bad language. Anytime I ever get upset or something, I always go into weird things. Like I say biscuits or,
poop is my go-to word. Everything.
Son of a biscuit is my top one.
That's what I do. Or, I'll just go off saying like weird things. That's basically what, I do and stuff. I never, most people know I don't ever cuss. I don't ever say anything. Crap is really probably the extent of my cussing. So
I've had to learn to adjust my language, but I grew up, my dad is worked logging woods, drove truck for a living and worked construction. So that's what I grew up around. And now, I wasn't allowed to cuss as a kid. Oh, help me know if I'd ever said a word. Yeah. As I got older, and once I reached that age where I was finally able to say those things, I've had to readjust as I've gotten older now. And I catch myself even around my parents. Today, I was talking with them, and we were having a conversation, and I started to say something, and I actually had to catch myself before I said a word that I honestly didn't want to say in front of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, I've reached that age where you got to watch what you say around who you are. Now if I'm out in the shop with my dad, no, we say some things that, oh my word.
Yeah. That's also what it depends, like how you're just saying, it's depending on who you're around, and stuff.
I don't even know if it's necessarily that too. I think it's also it comes down to a fact of what's kind of the context, because for a while my family was all don't use curse language and whatnot, but now it's kind of commonplace and we use it jokingly and we don't use it in a derogatory sense. And as long as we're not meaning to offend anybody, for our family and for people that I'm around and my friends, it's more, that's just kind of the commonplace language. And really language.
See, that's the problem though. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it really depends on like who, like how it affects certain people. So you definitely have to be aware of, like, if other people are offended by certain words, then you need to give the respect to them to not say it around those people. But in your own group of people that are comfortable with it, I don't think it's something that is necessarily like you have to put a bad tag on it. It's just something that you have to understand the use of it and make sure you're using it in a way that doesn't offend anybody or bring harm in any way.
Right. I was going to say, because at first I thought you were saying, like, my worry is always, like, if you're with a group of people, if it's just that group, yeah, I fully agree with you, because I think it comes down to however you want to portray yourself. So say, like, my mom always taught me, she was always kind of like, if you choose to say stuff, just know that to people like me and your dad, you're going to look like an idiot. It's basically like it was kind of like this. If you choose to portray yourself without coming up with better words, that's fine. But with certain groups of people, that's not how they view it. So it does, I truly agree. I think it depends on who you're around. The issue is not always being able to know that, like there's times, especially when you're in public places, it's like the number of times that, like, I've seen a group of people will be, on a playground swearing, right? So it's like the little group they think can only hear them probably doesn't care, but all the people around them still hear it, So it's like, there's that issue of society views it. It's funny because society seems to be so anti, it's like this whole, oh no, you don't swear. But at the same time, in all of our media, all these games, all of these movies, these TV shows, we just throw it out there and nobody seems to care. So it's like it's the same as sex. We can't seem to quite make up our minds. Is it bad or is it good?
And it goes back to the whole argument earlier where we're talking about Halo 5 getting a teen rating, because we're like, certain things are just more adapted to it. And I want to take a moment to say bye to Axiomm real quick. He has to drop off. So thanks for coming on and sharing your thoughts with us. But I just wanted to say thanks for coming on, and we'll probably do another one of these a little while later down the road, so we'll definitely have you on again Thanks for dropping by.
Oh, not a problem. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You as well.
I'll catch up with you later, Axe.
But it's one of those, most people know I'm a goody two-shoe. So I don't cuss. I don't drink. At least I drink every once in a while, but...
Dude, me and you are like new best friends. I hope you know that.
Basically.
I did see you drink at our anniversary party.
Yeah, but that's I had a margarita, and that is it.
Yeah,
and stuff, and it has to be fruity. I don't drink beer and all that because that tastes terrible.
I can't do beer. I can't do beer.
You know you're an alcoholic. It tastes like pee. It doesn't matter what type of beer. I tried
Thank you for this.
Type of beer.
Now hold on.
I'm totally with Ducain on this because I rarely drink. Like that was the first time I drank in probably over 7-8 months. And I mean, whenever I drink, it's like a glass of amaretto every like 5 months or so. But yeah, I don't beer. Beer's disgusting.
Yeah, you give me a fruity drink, and man, that's what I'll have every time because that sucker tastes good. You can't, and everyone always makes fun of it. Come on, if you would rather have Kool-Aid with like some alcohol in it, or something that tastes like pee, what would you rather have?
You're drinking the wrong beer, man.
No, exactly. That was my thought. Now,
I tried tons of different types of beer.
Now, I will admit, I do have a tendency a lot of times because I am a dad and funds are tight. I do tend to drink some cheap beer occasionally. Usually when it's hot, and it's more for the cool down factor of a nice ice cold beer after a long day of doing stuff.
I drink lemonade instead when I want to cool down. Just saying.
I drink Gatorade.
Well,
right here. Here. In case you don't know what I'm doing the eye to eye thing. That's what here.
Well, and what's bad now, mind you, my parents don't drink. My father quit drinking and smoking both 30-something years ago now. So I didn't grow up in a drinking household, but I do drink. Now, I'm not an everyday drinker by any means. Months could go by and I don't even think about it. During the summer, I do like a good cold beer if it's a good beer. A good Wicked Ale, Pete's Wicked. Some of the new apple ales that have come out aren't bad. A good imported beer is nice.
When did this turn into a drinking podcast?
This is just about parenting. This is what we're doing. Hey, I was going for more of a something, but we got caught with the drinking thing.
We did for a second. Now, on a side note from that, though, in the winter, a nice rum and Coke or a whiskey and Coke on occasion. Go out to dinner, have a drink, great. Now, if I'm going to have more than a drink, no. The wife's driving home, especially if we've got our son with us, that's a whole nother story. And as a parent, that's something that you learn to make the distinction of is when can you drink? I know a lot of young, new parents who still think that they can party like they did when they first turned 2021. That they want to kick back and put back a, case a night or, a bottle of whiskey. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. You got kids now. Those kids are dependent upon you to be awake, aware, to know what the hell's going on.
Unless they're at grandma's.
Exactly.
I was going to say, what babysitter do you have, and can I have their number?
Now, I'm fortunate. My son, again, he's 13 now. He's pretty well self-sufficient. I mean, he's at that age where, he can make himself most basic foods if he needs something. And still, I don't believe in the whole, get blitzed, get hungover. That's just way in the past, long time ago. But as a parent, there does come a point after a long day of either helping my father or doing physical manual labor stuff, or even working on computers, which is as stressful as can be. Then you deal with a stressful child. And when he goes to bed, to sit back and have a nice, relaxing drink, it's nice. It is.
See, but that's also, I don't go for beer. Like me and my wife, we get all the like fruity wine and stuff like that. And everything. And that's basically every once in a while, like literally every once in a while, because we don't drink it that much. But what I was trying to go for this is just trying to say, though, that fact is that parents are different. Some parents, they drink and stuff. I'm not saying get drunk and everything, but they drink more. Some parents, they're fine with the cussing and everything. Like personally to me, I'm a goody two shoes. I don't cuss. I personally don't find a point in cussing because you could just use a normal word. I also, me and my wife both waited to have sex until we were married. And, anyone out there that will make fun of me because of that, you tried going, how long? 21 years or something without anything.
I applaud you, sir.
Ain't easy. Ain't easy.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, that's what I think. And now I'm not saying every parent, that's the deal about parenting. It's different. There's of course a line that you don't cross, like buying your kid GTA whenever he's 5 or something, or something.
Yeah.
But, there's also, everyone has their own opinions, and it's not necessarily bad opinions for everything. Some parents are okay with their kid playing Halo or something like that whenever they turn, 7 or something, or whatever age, 6 or something, and some parents don't think they should ever play Halo until they turn like 14 or something like that, or 15. So it's just one of those things where everyone has their own, parenting beliefs and stuff like that. Now, there's a line and stuff, but I think, for the most part, everyone should be able to do somewhat of what they want without, it being bad and stuff. So that's just kind of where I was kind of going with that. And then we got into drinking and everything. And, yeah. And then there's people like Beowulf who get drunk at the Podtacular party.
Dude, my brother was having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, to kind of branch off what you just said, Ducain, I think it is something that, everyone has their own tolerance.
Yeah.
Not to use another drinking term, but
yeah,
way they kind of think about, especially with the whole gaming thing and exposing your kids to certain aspects of video games. But I almost think there's probably a certain, commonality that a lot of parents should hold amongst exposing kids to certain things. And I know a lot of parents out there aren't educated in the way that they need to be in order to adequately prepare for discussing with their kids on what they're playing, being able to know what's going on. So what do you guys think is the best way to really help other parents that might not know as much about gaming or about certain genres? Because Minecraft's kind of is a safe game. Most of the Mario games are pretty safe. I know earlier the King.
I don't know, that block breaking is pretty intense.
Hurting your head a little bit, right? Stomping on turtles and
I know
Goombas.
You're destroying turtles, Goombas.
And the Kingpin said earlier that he'd be bringing his children up on consoles such as NES or Master System. So a lot of those kinds of games. I think for the most part, we can agree that those are pretty safe kid games. But when it comes to a lot of the games nowadays where you're seeing a lot of high graphical fidelity, a lot of deep storytelling, a lot of complexity, it's really hard to keep up with all that stuff. So what do you guys think is a good way for parents to really stay in the know on certain game genres and really spread the word to other parents that might not be as knowledgeable and be like, hey, do you really think your kid should be playing this game? What do you guys think is kind of a good medium or the best way to educate parents as a whole? Because that's definitely one thing that gets blown up in mass media whenever there's something like a shooting at a high school or something that blames video games. So what do you think is the best kind of education for parents in that regards?
Is to have that information available for them. It's just all about having the information there for them to look it up, and the parents have to want to know, they have to want to do that part and the research and everything. So it's up to, I don't know.
I would just find an outlet that you trust their opinion and their views and their beliefs fall in line. I haven't personally gotten to this point, but my father-in-law, both my brother-in-laws are at this 7 to 15 age. So there's a lot of influence from friends and from advertising. And so what my father-in-law and mother-in-law do, they have 2 or 3 websites that they trust. And those are the websites they're going to go to see if that is a game that will fall in line with their beliefs. If it's something they want their kids even looking at. I remember we were all planning on going to see the new Jurassic Park together, and they had to go to like 3 different websites for that to even happen. For me, I'm kind of baffled. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm sure one day I will have to do that for my daughter, because you're going to know your kids better than anybody else. And you're going to know what is going to affect them and how it will affect them better than their friends will. You would hope. I mean, I can't speak for every parent, obviously, but you really got to know your kids, and you got to know what your beliefs are and what you're trying to teach your children. There's truly no perfect thing you can tell a parent.
And then don't disrespect other parents for not believing in the same thing that you believe.
Yeah, I mean, share what you know and your feelings, but don't frown upon somebody because they view it differently than you. And maybe their kids won't be affected as it. I can remember my friend, he was watching the Child's Play Chucky movies from a young age. Those things horrified me for the longest time. I could not watch them. And I remember one night we watched it at a little slumber party. And I went home and told my mom, and she ripped my friend's mom apart for letting us watch it. But at the end of the day, you kind of got to just know your kids. You got to find out what other kids are watching and see if that's something you're okay with your kid watching.
Yeah. I definitely, I agree. I think you hit two things. I think one is, first of all, I think one big way is, obviously like having outlets where the information can be found is really important. But I also think that things like what we're doing right now, getting a group of people from different backgrounds together to discuss these things in a format such as a podcast, so that people can, be at work, be wherever, and still hear it, listen to it, and it'll trigger conversations outside of just our conversation right now. It'll trigger conversations of other parents to talk together and to talk with their kids, to be open about the issues that are out there. And I think the other thing you really hit is that I think we too often separate, like, being involved in our children's lives when it comes to games and being involved in our children's lives. And I think that there isn't a separation. You can't really do the being involved in their lives when it comes to games and TV shows, etc., if you're not involved in their lives in general. Like you're saying, you need to know your child. And like, I'm not going to sit here and judge somebody for not being able to be involved or not being involved. But if you really want to be able to make sure that you can help your child out if they're going to end up playing something that maybe they shouldn't, or that ends up, upsetting them, you need to be involved, period, before you can be involved in their gaming world. And another thing is, even if you're not a gamer yourself as a parent, which I highly suggest getting at least somewhat involved if you can. One, it's fun, and two, it helps. It's a really easy way to get to know the games. But
and like, it's also just a good thing to do with your kids too.
Yes. I saw on Guardian Radio, Mark, our host, he recently started playing Destiny with his kid and streaming it on our channel. It's like the coolest thing to watch. Like, there's times where they get at each other and stuff, but it's like you see two people enjoying something. He's sharing this experience that he likes to have with his son, and at the same time, you also know that he's there able to filter things or help his son out if something comes up that isn't good for him, and that's...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's great too, because that's okay. I do it all the time, trust me. I've been over here biting my tongue a lot, but no, like it's also because like a lot of times parents will talk about how like, you're really busy, you have this busy schedule, you don't have time to play games, or you're really busy, you have a busy schedule, you don't have time to spend with your children. Why not combine the two things together? Just because you're looking at a screen doesn't mean you aren't able to interact and still get to know your child at the same time that you're doing something that's fun for you. But
I know, I can't wait till I can game with my daughter. That's going to be fun. I mean, now she's 2, and, we play Minecraft every now and then. She's figured out how to walk around and stuff, but I can't wait till she can actually, like, really game with me and, like, get on my streams and everything.
It's a lot of fun whenever Aiden, sits next to me and stuff and, is on my stream. Like, and he wants basically, he's just always says, what do I say? Because I always, get people on the stream to ask him questions or something like that. And he just loves, like answering questions or saying like, hi, whoever, like on the stream and stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I can't wait till he gets older so we're able to do it, like with him actually playing and stuff.
some of my best memories, early days of Halo. My dad can't play a first-person shooter because he gets dizzy or whatever. But he took...
well, that's because he spins around in circles.
But he genuinely took an interest in the story and, you know, what I was playing, and he could enjoy watching it with me.
Yes.
And, you know, at least do that. If you can't... The nice thing about video games now, and yes, it's been there for a while, but the stories we're getting now, they're more cinematic, so you can enjoy it as a viewer. And if you're going to be the parent that doesn't want to play games, then at least watch it. There's plenty to enjoy of watching it, and that can be a bond for you.
That was my parents, but without also the watching. They basically, and my parents were the typical where games are terrible, you know, and stuff like that, you know, and they still, like, even now they're still, you know, it's one of those things where I don't know, it's one of those things where they're still kind of, you know, more, this is what you do. It's like, you know, type of
I get the same thing with my parents too, though, because for a while after in my family growing up, we weren't allowed to have game consoles. We did have Game Boys. We did have the portable games, but until I got to college, I didn't have a console. I had a laptop for my...
Here.
Coincidence. I had a laptop that my parents bought me for college, so I bought, what was it? Star Wars Rogue Squadron and Halo CE for the PC. So that was really my first foray into those kind of games, and then I ended up buying my own 360 for Christmas in 2007. But our family was... Games aren't a good thing. Mm-hmm. We would occasionally rent a Nintendo 64 from Blockbuster when Blockbuster still existed. And we would do the Mario Kart, we'd do the Super Mario, and I had friends that had consoles, so whenever I would go over to a friend's house for a sleepover and actually play games there, that would be the only time I'd play consoles. But it took a while for my parents to grasp the fact that after I started doing this podcast and picking it up, that I was reaching out to friends. I was actually had a social life, and I was making connections that might be fruitful for a career in the future. And it took them a while to understand that gaming is a really cool thing to do, and it is social. It isn't just living in your parents' basement and playing games 24/7. It's actually engaging. It's fun. It's mentally stimulating. It's better than the movie, in my opinion, because you're actually interacting and you're driving the story. And for the most part, games can be a good tool to socialize, can be a tool to learn. And I think when it comes to kids, it should be a matter of parents need to be educated on certain games and then use those games as a tool to both keep kids entertained, but also to be a bonding experience between parents and kids, because if parents really love video games, then of course kids are going to be naturally interested. And I wish I had Goose Check on here, because she would dive into the whole psychology and philosophical side of it. But does that sound kind of right to you guys? I mean, I'm shooting from the hip here because I'm not a parent.
No, you have a good point, because now my father actually technically started me on my gaming life and adventure. He bought me and my sister an Atari 2600. Well, I say bought. He used to do small engine repair in a little bitty town in Northern California. And a lot of times what he did was in trade labor. People couldn't afford to pay him because it was a small logging community. So he did things in trade. And one of the guys offered him an Atari 2600 with modded joystick controllers. The guy had made custom joysticks with modded buttons and offered it in trade to my dad. Well, of course, he thought, shoot, I got 2 kids, they'll love this. Pitfall, amazing game to this day. And so it started me on my gaming. And now through the years, my dad has of course gotten on to me about, my daydreaming and my imagination and my gaming and whatnot. But here recently, as I've joined Dads of Destiny and begun this great community and this journey that we've done and these partnerships with Dames and them, I've actually talked to him about it. And about what we do and what we share in the community. And I was honestly surprised at the change in attitude he has as a member of the older generation. I mean, he's 75 now, that he fully understood what we did. and that it wasn't just about the video games, that we were a community of people brought together, helping each other who just happen to have video gaming in common.
Yeah.
And that has changed, and the views on gaming have changed with the times. Games aren't just for kids, and it is up to us parents and society itself out there, as much as this sucks, I know how society is right now, but to kind of make that distinction in what is good gaming and what is bad practice in gaming. And we've all encountered what is bad in all these communities. But at the same time, we've seen what can be great and amazing in what we do and in the gaming community. We're not, the stigma that follows this is, oh, that's a bunch of gamers. We're not. We are people. We are parents. We're friends. The things we have that we bring to the table now as adults in our genre is a whole nother ballgame. Now, years ago, back, in the early Nintendo and Atari days, no, I couldn't see a community like this having existed. Today, you look at it, and yeah, we've got some bad seeds in the community, but we've got people like, Belle, people who are willing to go that extra mile to help people and educate people, no matter what the cause or what's going on.
Now you're making me blush. Jeez.
I got to call Belle out in the middle of that. But the thing is, there is a bond now amongst our community and amongst modern gamers that is something that the older generation never would have seen or expected.
Do you think that's a big proponent to the internet, or just more accessibility to information, or like just because gaming has gotten so big? Because I mean, a lot of it back in the day, we didn't have online gaming. Internet was still pretty new back then. So do you think it's just there's a lot more information available and there's a lot more of that stuff that's prevalent? Like, go into a little more detail on why you think that is.
I do think that the internet has had a lot to do with it. Now, I am a techie. I've, like a lot of us, I'm in that age range that I grew up with the birth of the internet and internet chats and the amount of communication we now share online and across the world with people. Kingpin, as a matter of fact, is an excellent example. I mean, he lives in South Wales. I talk to him daily, whether it be in text or over Skype or phone calls on Line app. That is something
He's in the chat room right now.
Yeah, I know. I keep trying not to give him too much trouble over there. But that is something that, years ago we didn't have. We didn't have that broad communication. And I do think that the internet and modern technology has brought us gamers closer together because we can now share in that community without having to go, oh, well, I don't have anyone in my neighborhood who games, or I don't have any friends that game with me.
To that point, it reminds me of us over at RTX and stuff. Biowolf brought his real life friend. And the entire time at RTX, we called him real life friend because everyone else was just internet friends, basically, And
yeah.
so the whole time we were there, he was known as real life friend. Yeah. So we were just constantly, hey, where's real life friend? Or hey, how's it going, real life friend?
Poor Casey.
And the thing is,
poor Casey.
I feel like
No, I don't call anyone by their real name. I call you still Storm, and then Haas or
Fair
whatever,
enough.
which I guess that could be somewhat of your real name, but that
Sorry,
doesn't
Belle.
count.
I was just gonna say, I feel like there's a couple things here. Like we used to have to do you'd have like a LAN party, right? And so the thing is, when you can do that, and when you're limited to that, you also kind of limit who you choose to play with. Because you have these people that you physically are there with you. Why would you really reach out beyond that, right? And as that became less of a popular thing with games and the internet connections started taking over, we kind of were almost forced to start to have to actually make friends online rather than just playing with people there. They weren't just names anymore. And then I think part of it is the gaming world has started to reach out beyond just the talking and chats and stuff while you're in game to, there's communities on Twitter and Facebook and forums and everywhere and that form around that game. So there's all this connection that's made with real people beyond their gamer tags,
Well, and the term friend has changed a lot over the years. A lot.
It's not just this friend request. It's a you're actually like my friend.
Exactly. Yeah. What we now view as a friend or even as family. I mean, a lot of these guys in the DoD, Axe, Kingpin himself, they're not just my friends. They're my family. These are guys I talk to about day-to-day problems sometimes.
Exactly. You share your personal life more than you used to, and part of that is thanks to the internet. The other thing, though, I do think is that because if you look at certain games, there's definitely less of this kind of community feel available, and it's not just because of internet access. Because, like, I don't mean to call out a game here, but COD feels less friendly than other games I've experienced. And so, like, and they have the same access that, a game such as Halo or Destiny or what have you might have. But I think part of the difference is we're getting to a point where there's enough people who said, I'm tired of that experience. Let's change it. And so it's this availability to connect mixed with this extreme desire to connect because you want your gaming experience to be more positive than it has been in the past.
A non-toxic environment.
Right. And so I think we're striving for that. I think enough people now are starting to say, hey, gaming's supposed to be fun. Why the heck do I walk away from it wanting to punch the wall? Like unless my game's lagging, I shouldn't want to punch things in real life,
No. And a lot of us have reached that point too where we've realized that, gaming should be fun. It is our, especially as parents, even more so, that is our downtime. That is our time to hang out, to relax, to enjoy our evening or whatever we're doing. Why do we want to join in the middle of a toxic environment where we've got, kids to adults cussing, screaming, calling us names, teabagging us?
Whoa, teabagging is okay.
Now, it's not teabagging, it's me tying my shoe.
Yeah, up and down. I tie it in that forget, then tie it in that forget.
Okay, I'm done again. I'm sorry, let me fix that.
And I will admit, even amongst the dads, amongst the different sub-clans, all of us have a different kind of thought on
different
teabagging.
kind of teabagging.
Yeah.
We have a different version of teabagging.
And I'll admit, some
different
of us
flavors of teabags.
It's also though depending on how you do
and
it.
the
Like
game, you're talking a bunch of Halo guys. We're talking Destiny more. So Destiny, for some reason, teabagging is less okay because you can emote at people instead and be just as up yours, Whereas
I would
in
so
Halo.
Listen, with my Warlock, I would so much rather, when I take out a sniper with my Thorn from across the map, bowing at him is just so much more poetic than running over to his dead body and attempting to teabag.
I don't know.
I definitely think that we're at this point where we have all this availability to make true friends through gaming. There isn't such a disconnect between real life. Like, how often do you really hear somebody actually say, other than maybe bio, saying real life versus
this is my real life friend.
But besides that, how often do you really refer to in my real life versus gaming anymore? You really don't. There isn't a disconnect anymore. And I think that's awesome, but it also can lead to a lot more problems very easily because we take things more personally. There's more of that, it feels like more of a direct attack. But I think it's the perfect way to teach our kids, to show them there doesn't have to be, and there necessarily shouldn't be, this disconnect when it comes to the gaming experience, but that be there with them, say, hey, this is what a positive experience can be like. This is the way that you should play. This is the way that you should live.
Yeah.
Use gaming as an experience to show them that and teach them that, instead of it being this negative thing, instead of it being this, oh, games make people violent, they're bad, it's horrible, the gaming world's this negative place. It's our job to show the next generation what potential is there.
Well, and we need to get away from the stigma that, let's face it, for years, your true gamers were always that guy in his parents' basement hitting the bong, playing video games. That's not gamers anymore.
Why are you stereotyping this man?
Okay, speak for yourself.
I don't know. Whenever I met Haas, that's what he looked like. So,
oh dang!
The hate mail I'm going to get.
I have never even lit something that has gone in my mouth.
Women aren't going to be in the kitchen.
But Bio's the one that always brings the good stuff, right?
Hopefully.
I'm so sorry, Bio. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Okay.
Don't be sorry.
You don't understand. You all blame him, but I have promised him that I'm going to be the only one that's actually nice to him, and I'm breaking my. I'm allowed to on here, right? You're bad influence.
We're nice to him. We are. It's the whole like
just not his real life friend.
Him. Not his real life friend.
So. See, I don't even know the guy, and I'm already dragged into this. So,
just anytime, if anything ever goes wrong, in case y'all don't know this, if anything ever goes wrong in anything, doesn't have to be in gaming, whatever, just put on Twitter #BlameBioWolf.
There was a picture of a blowfish on Twitter once, and it just had #BlameBioWolf. No idea. Apparently, we blame him for blowfish. I don't know, but it happened.
Well, now there's a shirt, so
yeah.
But no, I mean we pick on them just like brotherly love type of stuff. So
well, yeah, and that's the one thing though. Going back to the online friend thing or whatever. Like before even I met you, Dustin, or us and stuff. Like before I even met y'all at RTX and everything, basically we had a friendship online where I would be comfortable with y'all coming over to my house and staying if y'all needed to, and stuff. So it's just, it's really interesting nowadays, like how you can form that type of friendship and everything to where you're comfortable with someone. It's not like any type of awkwardness or whatever. You're like, yeah, hey, you're coming down over here to Houston. Feel free to, you could stay over here or something like that if you're able to. It's interesting.
First time I had gamer friends, they came from Wisconsin, and everybody that wasn't a gamer in both sides of our lives, are they gonna come kill you? Like, no. Yeah. I mean, like
with cheese curds.
I honestly know.
Beer.
Yeah, it's totally different than when I first started playing games. Like these people are, I would call a lot of people that I game with or. In a community with, they're more real life friends than some of my real life friends.
I don't know if last time I actually in person talked with one of my friends. Like, I don't know. But like, I don't feel that. It's not like I don't feel that whole like somebody couldn't tell me that I'm secluding myself on the internet. It's not like that anymore. I'm not living in my little like clan online and I don't open the shades ever, it's not like that. But
living your dark cave.
Yeah, like I'm planning on going to Seattle, and I had like 5 different people from my clan and elsewhere be like, "Oh yeah, you can come stay with us," and I'm like, not until this moment, until you mentioned it, did I even think, maybe they'll kill me. Probably not. Like, maybe that's bad. I don't know.
It's one of those things that you just form friendships, like and everything that are strong enough to where you're comfortable with all that and stuff. You have no problem.
Well, for me, I mean, going off the whole, like, staying at people's places, there's someone that I know just outside of Memphis, and he's one of my best friends now, gaming. And I've been to his house several times. I've stayed at his grandma's house. I've stayed at his house. I stayed at his girlfriend's house. And then there was a person I went to their wedding in Wisconsin, and I met this person at PAX. So I go there. I went to her wedding, and then just talking to her parents. Her parents are like, anytime you come by, feel free to stop at our place. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And just I mean, just to your point, there's just so many and this is all through gaming. That's the weird thing. It's like I have such a big family in gaming where if I know anyone in any specific city that I need to go to, I can just hit them up. And they'd be more than happy to just have me drop in and stay the night. And it's just so cool that we have that kind of community in gaming. And I know for Halo and Destiny, those are 2 big communities that really foster that kind of growth and camaraderie and can really benefit from something like that.
It really is going to be interesting to see how my daughter's gaming experience and online experience is going to be different than what I had. Being that for a lot of us, it seems like we came into online gaming as Xbox started kind of rolling that out or right in that timeline. And now our children are going to be, it's going to be something, it's not going to be new to them. It's going to be something that's part of life.
Watch, really she's going to hate gaming.
They're going to have holograms.
You're going to be like, screw that stupid box.
Yeah. You'll never get to game with her ever.
I definitely think that there's so much potential there for a good experience for our kids and for ourselves, and to show them a lot about, life and the world around them in general. I mean, 10 years ago, who would have thought, like, oh my gosh, I'd be having this conversation about, like, teaching my child about life via video games? Like, that would have almost been laughable to really think about it. I think it's so cool that we're at a point where we could say that and actually believe it. And I think we need to, I think it's kind of our duty. If we're going to be parents who game, I think it's our duty to take advantage of that,
It's crazy that there's people that get married and stuff, and they've
never seen
met
each
online.
other.
No, it's not that TV show. Have y'all ever seen that TV show, or heard of it or something? Apparently, there's a TV show where they literally meet at the altar, and it's a reality show or whatever, and that's the whole point. They get married.
No, thank you.
What is wrong with society nowadays?
Well, there's marriage proposals over.
I was just saying, it's just crazy that people meet up, online nowadays and form a relationship. And of course, then they start meeting each other and everything, and eventually get married. But it all started with them meeting up in a game. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, last year we witnessed a proposal during the Halo panel.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, it is.
I'm assuming they're having a Destiny-themed wedding. Halo-themed.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Belle.
There's other games in the world. My brain is forgetting, but it's getting there. I swear.
We'll forgive you.
Or just keep talking about Destiny. I'm sure Dustin will love.
I'm sorry. That's what you get for bringing somebody who lives 90% in Destiny onto your Halo podcast.
You volunteered, so I'm not gonna not invite you.
Hey, you said parenting. Nobody told me I had to talk Halo while I was
here. He was like, you volunteered to get into it, and he was like, oh, I don't really want. She likes Destiny. Oh.
And see, the bad part is I was a Halo player, and notice I said was. 1 through 3 were absolutely awesome. Yeah, 1 through 3, amazing. I have 4. I have the actual collector's edition of 4. Yes, I paid the $119 or whatever it was for it.
He will eventually get 5.
Someday I will. But the minute they killed Cortana, I went, what?
Spoiler alert! I haven't played it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going, you want me to play it?
I was getting kicked off.
We're past spoiler territory on that game, dude. If you haven't figured it out by now.
Myself here?
Dude, I know.
I want to redeem myself.
Go for it.
Halo is what got me back into gaming. I played COD a tiny bit. That's what my first real console game consistently, and that was a horrible experience. And then my husband introduced me to Halo, and I fell in love. So
bam.
There, I'm redeemed, right? Halo's what made it happen.
Halo is the matchmaker game. Halo is the matchmaker game right there. Bam.
Let's have a game war. Let's argue.
No, let's
bring your kids in so they can watch.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no.
I go back periodically at that and watch it on, and play through that little Cortana scene and everything. Man, that's just so touching. I'm sorry.
When you guys are talking about Cortana and missing her, I keep thinking about our conversation earlier about why it might be rated T instead of M, and I can't not convince myself that that's why you miss her.
She's just so sexy. Her curves.
Cortana. It's all about Cortana.
No, but it's one of those deals.
I don't know him.
There have been some games where they have
Master Chief for me. So.
Oh, those lines of code are so
honestly, for me, Halo was all about the Scorpion tank. The minute they let me get in a Scorpion tank and shoot crap, I was like, really? I love this game.
Levels are the best,
Yeah.
They're the best. That's why I'm hoping Halo C had a Warthog run at the end of the game. Halo 2 didn't. Halo 3 had a Warthog run. Halo 4 didn't. I'm hoping with Halo 5 we get our Warthog run again. I'm hoping.
Well, see, I don't know. I was one of those who I tended to, I like doing multiplayer in Halo and get I'd have a buddy go out and scout for me and play spotter while I sat in a scorpion tank and fired rounds.
Or me.
Yeah, or my wife. My wife was great bait.
I wasn't a spotter, I was bait.
Yeah, I'd send her out there, let them start to swarm, and I'd fire rounds. And she's going, no, down and to the left. She's going, down and to the left. All right. I couldn't see the enemy. It didn't matter. She was watching them rounds for me.
Yeah. And, well, I was always the person with my real life friend. But I was always the person, though, that a lot of times if we're playing co-op, especially if we play on Legendary or something, my friend, he would just stick me with a plasma grenade, and I would just go running into all the enemies. And so I was basically just a human bomb. That's what we did. So it works. It works. Teamwork,
Yeah.
Well,
so being able to play with people like that is really cool.
Yeah. Well, I still have a little bit of Halo influence in me because I'll be playing Crucible and
Haas, mute your
Destiny.
mic.
Oh,
and someone tags me with a trip mine or a solar grenade, and I still have that Halo click where I want to run at the enemy while that grenade is stuck to me.
Yes.
You
got to.
You have to. It's just a Halo thing. You're like, oh, grenade. Yep. Come here. I want to hug you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've done that many a times in multiplayer where there's just a group of enemies inside. And since we're not that great at multiplayer and everything, we're just like, yeah, just stick me with a plasma grenade. I'll go running in, so.
Yeah.
And that's also Battlefield is another one of those great things with you get the C4 and you strap it to the front of a 4-wheeler. Oh yeah. I'm one of those people that cause you to start cussing at everyone.
So you're the suicide bomber in the game.
Absolutely. I'm always in a vehicle. It doesn't matter what game. I'm always in a vehicle. And anytime Halo, I don't even care if Mongoose, is pointless to have. Luckily, they have Gun Goose now, so it actually does something. But I'll be driving around in a Mongoose trying to run you over the whole time.
Yeah.
So even if it's on something that's not normally that great, like it on turf, and stuff, I'll drive the Warthog around and stuff. That's just
see that is one place I think that Destiny had a flaw was with vehicles in PvP. I know I said Destiny had a flaw. I'm going to get massive hate mail now. Vehicles in PvP was not well done or well thought out. I'm sorry, but if I'm in the Crucible and I see somebody, I'm on a big map and I see somebody get on a pike and start take off, Gallahorn or a sniper rifle's coming out. They are not staying on that vehicle.
Yeah. That's one reason actually why I don't play Destiny really anymore is because of the lack of vehicles. The fact that they only have the Sparrow as your spawnable whatever, thing. It's like, why don't you just give a whole bunch of different options? Like do wheeled vehicles because those are my favorite because, like I like things like a Warthog or something rather than a Ghost and stuff like that. So just have a nice variety of vehicles for people that don't make them to where they shoot and stuff. So you don't have to worry about being OP where you could just spawn on your vehicle and shoot. And, that's actually, it hurts my enjoyment of the game not having a nice variety of vehicles. So, and it's Bungie. Come on. You're supposed to know vehicles,
Well, going back to the whole, like playing with co-op and just the whole online thing. And I know we haven't quite touched online and we'll probably run out of time to get to it. So we'll probably do another one of these shows, which I think everyone sounds like they're having a good time. But
yeah,
is it,
we haven't killed anybody yet, so we're good.
Well, I mean, Axe got almost killed by lighting his computer on fire.
Yeah, he did have a air conditioning malfunction or something, apparently. I'm going to have to check on him later and make sure his house didn't burn down.
Gotcha.
My wolf was trying to kill my internet.
Yeah.
Oh. In real life.
Yeah.
See, there's the problem with real life friends. That's why you should have them.
But going back to the whole co-op thing, is it something that for your kids, whenever they get to the age, or for those that already have it at the age, that you'll play with your kids first and then let them kind of go on their own? Or we kind of, if they're interested in something, you'll let them go on their own based on the game and then you'll be there watching?
I think it's something should be,
yeah, supervised or monitored. Now I have played a few fighting games with my son, and because he's not, he's still new to video games. He's 13, but he's still learning. He doesn't have obviously the experience behind him I do, and we'll get into playing a fighting game together, and he gets mad, point blank. I beat him 5 matches in a row, and next thing I know, he's throwing a controller and he's storming off. He's having a temper tantrum. And I'm trying to explain to him that, there's no reason to get mad. Take that, learn what I showed you, get better. Focus it into the game. Because you're going to hit a point where you're going to be out there and you're going to be playing co-op with somebody or, player versus player against somebody, and they're going to stomp you. And you don't want that anger, because as soon as you get mad about it and chunk the controller, now the game's not fun anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he watches me play PvP in Destiny, play Crucible. And occasionally I get aggravated, but for the most part, I don't let PvP bother me that much, because I go in expecting to die.
Expecting that there's a
I'm afraid if you look at on Bungie Net, if you look at my profile, the quote on it states, "Death is just the beginning." I go into every match expecting to die and die repeatedly.
That's what I think whenever I go into matchmaking, because I'm terrible.
Honestly, I'm not that bad at PvP. I'm not what some of our guys are, but I'm not that bad at it either. But I know that there's no reason to get mad, because there are guys out there who do this for a living. They are competitive multiplayer world champions. I expect I'm going to get stomped by them. That's all there is to it, Don't
play.
You just have to practice and get better.
Yeah. I think part of it depends on what, if it's a game that they would be playing on the headset with other people or not. Because I think overall, if they're just going to be playing on their own, say it's campaign or whatever, as long as the game that I already have checked out, that I already know enough about it to be okay with them playing it. Obviously, if they want me to hang out, that'd be cool. I'd love to experience that. But if not, whatever, I'll let them have their time.
Don't push me away, kids.
But, there's times where I want to play without somebody right over my shoulder. No matter how much I love them. That's, but at the same time, if it's a game where they're going to be playing online with other people and communicating, I would want to probably be there at first, the first couple times, just to kind of show them how to deal with issues that might come up, to be there, I guess, to protect a little bit if I need to. But the other thing is, if that's not something that they want you there for, or that you're able to always be there for, that's when you find them. I'm going to do a little plug here. That's when you find them a good clan like Safe Gamers or Dames if they're playing Destiny and stuff. Because, but in real honesty, finding something like that they can, that's trusted for you, that that if they're there, there's people in place that even if you can't be there with them, they're going to be surrounded by good people that they're gaming with.
Exactly. And I fully agree with that. If you can't be there to monitor them or supervise them, and they're going to be into the online gaming and into the multiplayer stuff, I would rather see them in, Safe Gamers, some of the family clans we now have over in Dads of Destiny, somewhere where you can trust the people they're playing with to look out for them and keep an eye on them. Because let's face it, there is still a lot of toxicity and hostility out there in online gaming. Yeah. And that's just something that it's a reality, unfortunately. It's something we have to deal with. And as parents and as gamers, the best we can do is try to find them safe places and safe people to game with as much as possible. Because unfortunately we can't be there 24/7. As much as every parent would love to be, well, most of the time.
Camera's watching them at all time.
You just flat out, you can't. You just can't do it. And so you have to find them that safe environment and where you feel comfortable with it. And if you don't have that and you don't feel comfortable with it, then that's when you stop it. And that's something where, checks and balances come in, and you have to find what's comfortable for you as a parent. Doesn't have to be comfortable for your child, their children. You are the parent. It's up to you to make that decision.
Yep.
PMS Jenga actually asked a really good question in here, and this is directed more towards Ovaryacting and Belle. How do you, as parents of girls, plan to guide them through gaming as females with your gaming experience?
Ooh, that's a tough one because my experiences always haven't been the best. I mean, so I would definitely have to, guide her and like prepare her. Like, hey, this is what happened. I'd be real with it. I would tell her, when she's old enough to game and realize like how people treat females online. I would definitely tell her what to expect and help her through that and find her a community that she could be a part of that would have the safe environment like we were just talking about and stuff like that. And I would definitely be involved in her gaming experience because like I said, I know I've had some pretty bad ones, when they've like, when we did our Xbox community game night, we had, the slew of messages and stuff. And I'm sure, other females have experienced that too, but not all of it's been bad because I've had some really good stuff too where, we went to competitions and we were kicking butt and everybody was, on our side and everything like that. So there's good and bad. So I would definitely prepare her for both.
I would say being honest and open about, like, for me with my daughter, I would say, I definitely am going to let her know that there's going to be some negativity out there and that's stupid. That she's going to receive stuff because she's a she. And I would say that with anybody, to any child, being honest that, maybe you're going to get teased because you're not good enough or because you have a stutter or whatever it is, you like chocolate milk and everybody else likes white milk. I don't know. Like
chocolate milk today.
The things I start, my goodness.
I like that chocolate milk.
But like, I do think it's being open and letting them know that there's going to be some things, but not to terrify them either, because that's something that I've seen too much with my dames is that they came into playing Destiny with their previous experiences assuming what it's going to be like, which rightfully so. If you have an experience X number of times, you're going to assume that's the gaming experience, but I, like you were saying, that there's good out there too. And to make sure that she's aware that if you go to the right places and you find the right groups of people, you're going to find acceptance and you're going to have fun, and not to be afraid to stand up for herself, but not to feed the trolls.
Yeah. Don't let it get to you. Like, any type of complaining for anyone, don't let it get to you, because that's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a rise out of you, trying to get you to respond back in a bad way.
Don't be silenced either, because I think there's like such a thin line that people have such a hard time figuring out exactly where that line is. And I mean, I have a hard time. I don't always know exactly when do I say something and when do I not. But, I want to teach her that, to let somebody know that what they just said isn't okay, but that's it. Not to, don't give it back to them. The second you start giving it back, you become just like them and you lose everything. And I think that's an important thing for everybody in general, but especially sadly with females right now, that's definitely a big issue within the gaming world, but it's changing, and that's the thing is I think finding the right communities within games.
I would think it would be better by the time, those kids grow up. It'll be a lot better than what, just because it is going like, they're mainly like I'm talking about a long time ago, gaming was more of a guy type of thing. There was some girls and stuff that played, but it was mainly a guy type of deal. But then now as it's gaming's been around a lot longer, there's a lot more girls and everything playing, and it's a lot more people aren't necessarily, saying bad things and stuff like that. Now, of course, there's still idiots out there that ruin it. But
I don't know if it's also that it's getting better. It's more that enough of the good people are speaking out and stepping up and helping surround the people that need surrounding, you know, and so I don't know if it's because, the trolls are still trolls. There's still lots of them. And as we have this generation grow up, no matter how careful we are, there's going to be new trolls that come out of this generation, just as many as there are good people, and so it's never going to completely go away. It's more a matter of the strength and the empowerment we give the people who need it rather than the trolls.
Mm-hmm. So Haas, what's it with you having a daughter?
He's going to beat down every single kid.
It's really weird. I'm always in like defensive mode over her, like protective, not. Yeah.
I don't like
because I've been an online gamer for a long time, and I've sat in lobbies where you get back in the day when you would get the girl in there, oh my gosh, everybody freezes. And then it's a girl. And you either get like people hitting on her, or you get the people who are just saying things I can't even imagine people saying. I've found myself shocked, but I'm really glad that we're seeing a lot more female gamers. So it's not such a rare thing. And so hopefully the gaming community as a whole can kind of mature and welcome it more and more. And that by the time my daughter's online, yes, I'm sure it will be there in some form, because things just have this tendency never to disappear all the way. But knowing that she can get online and have a good time without me having to be there every waking moment, which I'm sure I'll be, especially for those early days, I will be by her side, because sometimes you don't know how to leave situations. And so that's what I feel my role is going to be, is helping her get out of those situations, or how to handle those situations, just like with any parenting situation.
Yes, you're gonna hack those people's Xboxes and find out where they live, and then go.
No, I want to be there to continue to raise my daughter.
Well, the thing is, I do think, as we have discussed it, how the online community has changed gaming and the gaming community in general. I think that's part of what has brought the female gamer to the forefront now. Is what a lot of these gamers don't realize is there have always been female gamers. Yeah, and it may just be me, because I grew up with an older sister who played video games with me, taught me a lot of my early video games. But females have always gamed. There's always been the female gamer. They weren't that elusive thing that a lot of these basement dwellers thought. But now we are in an online society with Twitch and YouTube and podcasts and online matchmaking. The female gamer is becoming more observed. They're there more often. They're more right there in front of you. And I think that has changed perspective a lot, because it has taken the common gamer some time to adjust and go, wait, girls play games too.
See, and that's the thing, though, is I like the second part of what you said, because it's not necessarily that there's more female gamers now. It's that there's more female gamers being open about being female gamers, because we've been there for a long time. Like, that's part of why I started Dames, and I was surprised. I'm not kidding you. Like, I thought there were going to be maybe like 10 people that joined. Okay. And then it's like, it's blown up because they're all there. And then there's like PMS Clan, right? And it's like all these different groups that are there that just, we haven't all necessarily been super heard, one by choice sometimes, because a lot of the members I know have hidden and not used their mics because they don't want to deal with the harassment and everything. And two, because we are getting more support and we're supporting ourselves. And I think that's one of the things is it's the more, I don't know how to explain this. It's not, I hate the term white knight, because like it's not a matter of like gamers who are female or gamers who are anything don't necessarily need people to come save them. It's just that everybody wants respect. And I'm tired of the gaming world being seen as this place where it's okay not to respect each other, no matter what your sex or sexual orientation or what have you. It's not okay to not be respectful just because it's online. Yeah. And that's something that needs to change overall. It's definitely, we're working on it, but we have to keep talking about it to get it there. And that's why, like, I'm wary of how much it's going to change in the next how many years before our kids are at that age. But I have high hopes that it's definitely going to be on the upswing a lot more than it is right now, even.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I was cautious. As Belle and a few others may know, I set up Dads of Destiny Family Sidekicks, which is a family clan for kids, wives, uncles, whoever. And in an unprecedented move, I actually set up 2 female admins to run the clan. I did it because in all reality, I trusted them more to handle a family-oriented clan than I did any male gamer I know. I knew that they would make sure that the content was moderated, that what went on in gameplay was moderated, much more than I did with any of the guys. And I mean, I have some very trusted male admins. That's not the point. I trusted them more to handle it. And it's because I know they're not going to tolerate it, period. They're not going to let something slide. They're not going to slack off. Because I'm not your stereotypical, I guess, gamer or basement dweller gamer. I like playing with the female gamers. I think they're great.
They make great bait.
Now, some of them, I get kittens and rainbows. Awesome gamer. I actually converted her. She joined the dads with us from another clan. She is a monster in PvP. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what. Now, I've played against some dames in Crucible.
And we kicked your butt, right?
there have been, I tell you what, there are a lot of times we go into a match and I see dames in the roster. I do get a little worried. I'm like, wait a minute, are we going to win this? You know.
Tell you a story about meeting the dames in the Crucible.
Who was the last one we went against?
Oh, man. I can't remember her name. All I know is I was running around and I didn't pay attention to who was playing when we first got in there. And we're playing, and I had her on my friends list. And so as soon as I saw her in the game, I stopped, and I was like, whoa, we're playing against the dames. And she killed me right there.
Dang.
And teabagged your body.
Wow. I was like, okay, well, I hesitated, so I deserved that. Unfortunately, they didn't do so well the rest of that game.
No, because, well, unfortunately, because as much as we love the dames, and we do, they are an absolutely amazing group. Everything Belle's done is just awesome with them. But we are also of that attitude that when we run into them in a fire team and in PvP, we're not going to hold back either.
Thank you. I was just going to say, because that's the thing is I feel like there's like this shock value where people are like, what? I just got my butt kicked by a girl in a game. But it's like, I look forward to the day when they don't even notice that. It's just like, wow, I just got my butt kicked. I'm going to send them hate mail because I got my butt kicked. I don't care what gender they are. Like, you know.
I guarantee you. Yeah,
I've managed to receive hate mail in 4 different languages so far.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Multilingual? Dang, that's a new level.
Isn't it, though? I'm of that opinion. You know, I get sniped by some dame in the middle of a PvP match. I'm hunting her down. That's all there is to it. You know, there will be retaliation. I don't care if she's a dame or not.
And then a message at the end of the match says "good game," but I mean, I'm not going to take it easy. I don't care.
No.
See, and that's the thing. It's like I want it to be a point where, you know, we're not even having a conversation about female gamers and male gamers, or, you know, gay gamers and straight gamers. Like it's just, we're all people who play games, and we just want to go enjoy doing that. And I still stand by, I mean, I want to try to pull this back here. We're parents. It's our job to teach the next generation how to do that properly, so that they don't have to sit here and have these conversations.
You know, like you said earlier, it's all about us, you know, talking about it now, so that way we can change the mindsets of tomorrow, you know?
Yes.
Well, and we're just now becoming a gaming community where, as we play now with more people across the world, you're just now starting to see that tolerance level change where, you know, when you hop into a game or a fire team and you're playing with guys out of the UK or Australia or South Africa, that is slowly getting to where it's not so awkward anymore. You know, in years gone by, it was like, what? I'm playing with a UK player, you know.
Oh my
that
God.
Same
those Brits.
Now we just give them crap.
America.
Yeah.
I love their voice.
Hey, let me play against a Canadian. Yeah, I know he's going to lay down his gun and sit there for me. No.
I'm sorry. Every time I shot you in the face, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, we're bad.
Yeah. But now, but back to topic generally, you know, we are building that tolerance level higher as we've come to accept other cultures, other countries in our gaming. And that's slowly migrating over to, you know, other sexual orientations, whether it be a female gamer, a gay gamer. And that's when we just have to accept that they're gamers. There's not any right way to be a gamer. You're a gamer. That's all.
It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Why is it so hard for people just to go enjoy it? Like, I don't get it. I don't know.
And on the flip
People
side
are
of that,
rude.
on the flip side of that point about, you know, discussing how, you know, as a female raising a female gamer or future gamer, you know, we did have that question also posed as far as those of us who have boys, how are we going to view that? And I'll tell you right now, I see my son in a video game disrespecting anyone in a video game, regardless of their sexual orientation, their country, their culture, whatever.
He won't be able to sit down for a month. No.
Yeah, that child's going to have some issues. He's going to have some issues.
That's where the whole idea of like the fact that there shouldn't really be this divide between gaming and the real world. Treat gaming experience the same as you would with the real world. So your kid sits there and on the playground calls somebody some derogatory term because of whatever's unique about them. What would you do there? Do the exact same thing in a game.
Exactly.
So
exactly. You treat it the same.
I think the biggest issue is the fact that you don't. Well, they're not right there in front of you. You're not in a person-to-person interaction. So, as kids see it, it's not the same experience.
Well, isn't that
where... I mean, as an adult, we understand that there's a person on the other end of that line. It's
isn't that where you step in as an adult, though?
Them.
Yeah. You step in, and that's when you explain it to them.
I agree. But I think that's part of where the problem is that kids don't, for whatever reason, don't seem to grasp the concept that there's a person on the other end of that electronic device.
Just tell them it's their imaginary friend, and when they want to hurt their imaginary friend's feelings, heck no. I don't know. I'm just pulling at straws here.
If I caught my son disrespecting somebody on the other end, I would send them through the electronic device to go meet him. No, but in all seriousness, I couldn't do it. I couldn't tolerate. Like, I believe in respecting other people regardless of who they are. Exactly. So I am going to attempt to instill this on my children, and then I will correct them when they do something that's disrespectful in that manner. Because I don't know about you guys, but I was raised old school, and you shake somebody's hand, that's your word. You treat everybody with respect until they give you a good reason.
Why does that have to be old school? I think we need to bring that back. That should be that should be how it is
for people.
You look at today's society, and it is old school.
Yeah, unfortunately, modern parenting sometimes, and this sucks saying as a parent, but modern parenting sometimes has gotten off rail. And parents want to blame, their busy lifestyles, their work schedules, their this, their that. No, it is just a factor that they no longer are paying attention. They're not willing to put the effort into raising their kids that was put into raising us. And it's not right. And I do think we need to go back to, more respect, showing our kids what's right and wrong. I think we'd have a much better society right now if we did. My son constantly, every time he goes and helps me and my father, he has a bad habit of nodding or shaking his head in answer. And my dad is famous, and I now use it too, of, I can't hear your head shake.
Mm-hmm.
I want an answer. And not just a yeah or a okay. No, that should be yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. That is proper respect. Not, yeah, okay. What's yeah, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, I'm in trouble. I say that all the time.
Shame on you.
But see, that's the thing is, I do think there's
yes, I'll do it.
There's a point where we need to obviously look at the fact that, when I say, why is that old school? We have to find a way to balance the fact that we're in a different time period. We're in a different point in life right now. We're going to have to accept that people speak a different way and find a way to have our own version of respectful. You know what I mean? I think it's we went, oh, well, we don't open doors. We don't say yes, ma'am. We don't do that anymore. So we're just going to let everything fly. It's we went from one sort of extreme in a way to a whole another extreme on the opposite end of the spectrum. And we need to kind of find a way to weasel back to the middle somewhere, because it's a comfortable place and it's a good place to be.
See, I don't believe in opening doors for people, but that's because all the doors you walk into open themselves.
I don't know how do I do this? What does pull mean?
Isn't that a shotgun thing? Oh, shotgun. Yeah.
I know.
Bad joke. I know, that was a really bad joke. I'll walk myself out.
We'll just continue past that joke.
Yeah.
But hearing you guys talk about that, that to me, that just comes back to the whole getting involved with your kids and being informed on what you're exposing your kids to is kind of the crux of parenting and gaming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And too many parents these days just, they set their kid down in front of a TV or set their kid down in front of a console.
The babysitter.
Exactly. They walk away. They expect it to do their job for them. And that's not the way they were. Well, you hope that's not the way they were raised.
You need the interaction with the kids.
Absolutely. But whether it be, and even if you're not the outdoorsy type, if you are someone who is diehard gamer and grew up into modern electronics and gaming, that's still something that you can interact with your kids. You can make that a family time. It doesn't have to be just the whole gaming thing. You know, everybody's family time is different. And that is something we really need to get back to as parents, is having that family time. If going out and doing camping and hiking and playing ball isn't your thing, great. Sit down and play some video games with them. You know, sit down and have a family movie night.
Yeah, I was actually telling Grimm about this. Is something that my daughter, who's 7 years old, something that we're going to start here soon. Not gaming related, but on the internet and everything like that, to teach her about it. But she saw the blogs and stuff that I was reading and browsing through and whatnot as I was making web pages, or learning how to make web pages. And she said she wanted to start something like that, or asked what a blog was. And I told her it's kind of like a journal, but it's online, but you can do anything with it you want to. And so she decided that she wanted to start one. And of course, you know, I'm not going to let a 7-year-old run rampant on the internet, because that would just be not good parenting. But so we come up with this idea that we're going to create a, we can call it like a book review blog or something like that. She's going to read the books, and she's going to write her review and her 7-year-old concept.
That's so
and
cute.
we're going to put it on the internet, and we're going to slowly introduce her to the internet and show her what responsible is, and give her something to do. One, it helps promote her reading. It promotes her interaction with other people. It gets her critical thinking. All these things that I believe the kids need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that, plus she's introduced the internet. I mean, granted, I'll be right here to monitor everything that goes on the website, so I can make sure that, you know, the undesirables don't get their comments on the webpage. But, you know, I wanted to do something to introduce her. She wanted to do this because I spend a lot of time in front of the computers and the game systems and stuff like that when I'm not parenting. So she wanted to do something, and it sounded to me like she wanted to do something with me. So we built something that we could both do.
That's basically what kids, they want to do stuff with you. You know, they're always wanting to be with their parents, you know, because, you know, they love them. They look up to them.
So they want to be like you too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Constantly. Set that example, you know, if you're going to be in the gaming world, be that positive example of what a gamer should and can actually be like, so that they learn that that's the way they can be too.
There's sometimes though, I don't want him to, like Aiden, he took on my, like, there's one time I whatever, slapped my hand to my face, you know, whenever something went wrong or whatever. And oh my goodness, now he does that all the time. And you can tell he doesn't understand like what it necessarily means, like, you know, under what context you do it under. But he just does it all the time. We're just like, you know, Aiden, can you, you know, clean up your blocks? And he goes like that and goes, oh, you know, up to his face. And it's just, he wants to be exactly how I am. You know, like everything that I do, he tries to copy, tries to imitate and stuff. So, you know, it's one of those things where it makes me happy. And then also at the same time, it's like, no, don't do that. You know, you don't understand.
So I think we're going to start wrapping things up here, because we've been doing this for a while, and I don't want to keep our guests for too long.
My kids need a bath.
Yeah. But there was one more.
It's already 11:21.
There was one more question that popped up in the chat I want to get answered before we hop off. And I think we'll probably do this again, probably in a few months down the road, because I know there's a lot of other topics that we can discuss regarding parenting and podcasts, and we didn't even get to the whole online, like in depth. So there's definitely more things we can talk about. But from the chat, Don't Call Me Panda asks, as gaming parents, how are you going to decide which games are appropriate for your children? What age do you feel is appropriate to play online? And do you think ratings are helpful?
Well,
it's all really subjective, isn't it?
I love how that started with size from everybody.
Yeah.
Well, they're hard questions to answer. Like I personally, I don't care what the rating on a game is.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, like we talked about Halo being teen and mature between the two different games. There's honestly like no difference in the amount of violence or blood that's in the game. However, they have two different ratings. In my opinion,
I think
it's based on what, you know, as individual parents, we all have different standards for, I'm going to use the term loosely, but different parenting styles. So each of us is going to view a game at a different level. Right? I don't think Halo is a bad thing because there's really not a lot of blood in Halo. It's not like playing Devil May Cry or, as Grimm mentioned earlier, God of War. Like those games have a lot more blood, violence. It's a lot more realistic, if that makes more sense. Like GTA, I mean, you're running over people. I mean, you get points for killing people in a game.
All right.
Like,
yeah. And it's also, I think, the maturity of your kid too. You know, like just because some kids may be okay with playing Halo playing the campaign at 6 years old or something like that or whatever. And, you know, they may be, there's no issues at all or whatever. But then some kids, their maturity isn't quite there. That's too much, you know, for them. So,
and this, I think it comes down to, you know, every parent and every child is slightly different. And I think if there's a question about it, the parent really needs to sit down and play the game themselves, not look at what someone else has rated it, but what you yourself would rate it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I've gone on some of those those sites that help you you can read through a rating that somebody gave a TV show or something, and I'll read through it and they'll be like, oh yeah, a 10-year-old could watch this, and then I read what they wrote as things that happened. I'm like, what? What kind
you
of
having a different opinion?
I just ran into that with the new Tinkerbell movie, The Never Beast. That was horrifying, and all the reviews are like, "Oh, what a fascinating, happy tale."
That was scary. That was kind of scary. Yeah, that thing. I will go on to say,
likes The Never Beast.
You know, hey, I will go on to say
watch this.
I love the Tinkerbell movies. Those are very well made.
You know you're a parent when you can proudly admit stuff like this. Like, I have seen every Tinkerbell movie that's ever been made. I went out to the store the day that the Never Beast was released and told my wife, hey, I'm getting Tinkerbell for my daughter. I'm not quite sure if I was actually getting that for my daughter or not.
See? Okay. See, I meant actual, I don't know. I look up a show for me, and there's these ratings. I wasn't talking about Tinkerbell, but that works too. Whatever floats your boat.
Go watch Tinkerbell, and then we'll talk.
Really.
I know. You know what I'm gonna go watch on Netflix tonight, right?
Yeah, but because I'll tell you what, the Never Beast is kind of scary. I mean, I'm not sure I would show that to, say, a 2 or 3 year old. That could lead to nightmares.
My 2-year-old loves it.
Well,
like you said, it all depends on your kid, you know?
Depends on
Yeah.
It's all, it depends on that and also
it's
the parents.
It's a little sad, but other than that.
It was kind of.
Spoiler alert, it goes back away for 1,000 years. Very sad.
See, that's the thing is, I feel like there's, for me at least, I'm going to go off of, would I play this game and not have any issues or questions at all myself? Would I, is there a part, because, you guys are sitting your time and GTA is fun, but it's a bad game. You directly say it for yourself even, Yeah. And so, that would be, the first step for me is, if I've experienced the game, did any part of it make me go, for myself? Then it's definitely a no.
Yeah.
Until they're at a point where they can really decide that for themselves.
I think GTA, no matter what, shouldn't be played by young kids.
No,
There's
I don't know if it should be played by anybody, in my opinion. But
that's one of those games that should have the NC-17 rating. No.
But I do think it's you can look up reviews and stuff. But again, just get involved, play it yourself, check it out, or even if you don't have the time to play it yourself, you don't want to go buy it until you know for sure, which I totally understand because that would be me. I'd go hunt down people that I know. We're talking about all these friends that we have. I guarantee you have a friend on the internet that's played that game.
Yeah.
That you could probably trust their opinion and say, okay, so I have this age child. You know me. What do you think?
Even if you don't have anybody who's played it or you're not going to play it yourself, go YouTube it.
Yeah, YouTube will have the gameplays up day one.
That's a good point,
yeah. Just go look up cutscenes alone on any game. Just watch the, 5 hours of cutscenes. That'll tell you right there, probably. That's where most of the worst stuff is in a lot of games right now.
Yeah.
But.
Right.
I agree, absolutely, because I was when I first played Conan on the 360, I started into that game thinking, hey, it's going to be a little blood and violence. It's Conan. And then the first time I walked up and you've got to cut the chains off of a topless slave girl.
It's Conan.
Okay, it's Conan.
That's what I thought.
And that ended that being played at any point in time while my child was up and around,
Or preferably even at home.
Any of those types of games, that's the thing. Sometimes you don't realize what's going to be in it until you start playing, and I've seen so many games these days that list partial nudity. Well, partial nudity, World of Warcraft claims partial nudity. I've never seen a topless chick in World of Warcraft.
I don't know. Some of those outfits and some of those games are pretty darn close. They might as well be like
basically pasties on.
Exactly, and that thing is, you have to stop and think. Okay, well, what did they base partial nudity on? Theoretically, again, back to our original discussion about a topless guy can be listed as partial nudity.
Naked Eli.
So we mentioned this partial nudity. I can't help but think of the article that was released back when, I want to say Mass Effect 2 came out about the whole, oh my God, it was pornography everywhere because people misconstrued what actually happened in the game and what it did and did not show.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Again, that came from a reporter who didn't actually play the game. He was just going off of what other people said. And I mean...
Yeah, I was going to say, don't go by the big... I don't mean to put a fence out to, any big name, sites out there. Don't go by those, because they're the ones that give games like Destiny 6 out of 10, because they played it for 4 hours the first day and dropped it. So
I give Destiny a 4 out of 10. No, I'm just fine.
But you know what I mean? I would say, really do some research into the sites you're going to use, because some of those are just there to clickbait and be done.
Or those sites give Mass Chief Collection a 9 out of 10 and it's broken completely.
Yeah, what game were you playing?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
All I gotta say is Ubisoft and Unity.
But I love the no faces.
All the saltiness is coming out now. It's great.
It's awesome.
It was such a horrible, Ubisoft, especially with the entire Assassin's Creed line, is notorious for putting out really glitchy games.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You would figure after the first one or two that they would actually take their time and polish a product, but they haven't. And
I will say though, Syndicate, I got to play it at RTX and stuff. At least the section that I played it was pretty polished. It actually worked very well. I didn't see any glitching or anything like that. But of course, that was exactly. That was just the demo type of thing. But they did talk about how they know how Unity was. So,
and see, I'm one of those.
People keep on playing them, so why fix it, right?
Well, I mean, that's probably Ubisoft saying it's it's Assassin's Creed, and we're Ubisoft. Put it out there; they're going to buy it anyway.
Oh yeah,
and that mentality just needs to go away.
Like COD.
Well,
whoops!
Let's look at EA.
COD's in a special place.
EA Games.
COD's in a special place.
No, it's not. Well, yeah, it is, because, I mean, even the company that makes the game doesn't even refer to their own players as gamers. They're not. They're mindless drones that buy a game because it gets put on a shelf. The games have no story. None. And it's the same rehashed multiplayer over and over and over.
Well, now do we want to look at something like EA, who I was one of the original, actually, I pre-ordered SimCity when it came out. Oh
man, I was so excited.
I know, wasn't it? And then we couldn't play for a month?
Yeah, that was, oh man, I was so excited whenever they announced that, SimCity again. At least we have City Skylines now. That's a lot better.
Well, I think, and it was a fail. They knew it. That's how I ended up with, I ended up with a free game off of the deal with them. Dead Space 3, as a matter of fact. But I also look at, my wife is a huge player of The Sims. She's played 1 all the way through 4. And here 4 came out, and they were talking about all these great changes and these new things you could do in 4. They put out a broken game. There is less functionality in Sims 4 than there was in Sims 1 when it first launched.
Yeah, Sims 4 was pretty...
They're like the 7th expansion or whatever, and they broke down their expansions into expansions, stuff packs, and then something else. On The Sims 3, it was damn near every one of them was pre-ordered on Sims 3. Sims 4, I just 2 days ago, maybe 3 at the most, for my birthday this month, I bought one of the little stuff packs, or expansion packs, whatever it was classified as, called Spa Day. because it was going to add some of the functionality into it, as well as new items and clothing and venues and stuff like that. But it came out around the same time Destiny did, and it's like exploded. Even if I liked it, I couldn't keep up with it right now.
Well, I was saying they made a broken game and are expecting them to basically buy DLC constantly to get the same functionality they had before.
There has been some free stuff. We got a free tools download, a free dishwasher. If you got the collector's edition base game, you got some celebration stuff for free. At Christmas time, they did give us some Christmas items, clothing and stuff for free. But overall, it is not complete. And it's probably going to cost me at least $500 before.
But they can get by with a broken game.
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of the games in this generation has been like that, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, we need to wrap this up because
now we've bashed game
because I'm gonna pass out soon.
Yeah.
My kids haven't taken a bath yet, and it's already 11:30.
Yeah.
So.
Out of respect for all the guests and the length of this podcast,
haven't eaten. I'm hungry.
Oh, I'm hungry too. I haven't had anything to eat since.
I had a quarter of a salad.
Yeah, I was smart. I ate.
I guess that counts for something, right?
Yes, I'm going to eat.
Sheesh, I'm going to call you guys all old people because it's only 9:30.
Yeah,
everybody's like, oh,
East Coast. East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I want to go watch Doctor Who, eat my pizza, and then pass out. I'm just my priorities here. You know,
you gotta watch. Yeah, you can't watch Doctor Who
because now I'm gonna stay up and watch that all night.
Yeah. No, she's got to go watch Tinkerbell.
What do I have to watch?
You got to go watch Tinkerbell. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh.
See?
I do watch
Doctor Who.
Tinkerbell.
You can't skip Doctor Who. I mean, it's Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back and rewatching.
I'm perfectly happy.
I finished the newest season. I'm making the mistake of going back and rewatching season 1. I want to punch Rose Tyler in her face.
Boy.
Little snap. Cat fight.
Anyways, I want to thank all of our guests for coming on the show and participating in this, and hopefully we can have you guys on again for another one because it's a lot more information to cover than obviously one podcast could fill, but I think we covered a lot tonight, and I appreciate everyone for coming on. So for those that have
thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
For those
it's been a blast.
that have not been on the podcast before, which would be Belle, Grimm, and Axe, why don't you give us a little bit of info on where people can find you. So starting with Belle.
Twitter. I live on Twitter. I tweet a lot. So be
She
warned.
does.
But it's but I haven't been muted, so I'm doing better than Ty.
If you start mentioning me in every 3 minutes in the tweet, then I might have to mute you.
You know I have a new goal for this week.
Dang
now,
it.
Right?
What have I brought upon myself?
Let's all do it. Everyone in chat. Just start.
Everybody.
Oh no. My phone's going to explode tonight. I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. Oh, crap. What have I done?
Silent mode for the win.
So it's at BE11E Bunny, because somebody stole BelleBunny from me. But yeah, and then on YouTube, I do some stuff. I play that Destiny thing I keep talking about. So if you like a game that has no story, see, I can diss it too. I can make fun of it, only because it's all changing soon. But anyway, yeah, contact me somewhere. Usually Twitter's the best bet, and the Dames and Safe Gamers exist. They're super cool. So if you want to join them because you play Destiny, that's awesome.
Yay.
That's about it.
Awesome.
All right, I'm Axiomm84. You can reach me at Axiomm84. They're in the chat box. I just sent that out. If it will actually enter, there we go. So yeah, that's me. You can also find us at dadsadestiny.net.
Cool.
I think that's about it.
I just want to say that sounded an awful lot like a phone recording for like your voicemail.
Didn't it though?
I am Axiomm84, and you can reach me at just the way it sounded.
I've spent a lot of years.
You should put that as your voice recording.
You have reached the voicemail box of Axiomm84. You can reach me at Axiomm84 on Twitter. Or find me at dadsofdestiny.net. Please leave your message after the Dinklebot.
I could actually see that. I really could.
Thank you. That was great.
That'd be great.
Well, this is being recorded and it will be available for download afterwards. So
awesome. And of course, I'm Grimm Axiomm, PlayStation Community Manager for Dads of Destiny. I threw my Twitter into chat as well. It's Grimm Axiomm _PS3. I can be reached there. I can be emailed at pscommunity@dadsofdestiny.net if you need to reach me.
Dang, we got an email address.
Yeah, absolutely. I welcome
everybody. Go spam that too.
Yes,
no,
please.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It is my Dads of Destiny account. I'll probably ignore you. No, but yeah, feel free and always open for any kind of conversation and multiplayer games going on and whatnot.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening who were here on the Twitch chat or downloaded us via iTunes or wherever else you download us. This has been a very, very special edition, and hopefully we can bring this back in the not too distant future with all of our guests back on, because this has been a lot of fun. I think this has been very thoughtful, very educational for a lot of people that, especially if people aren't parents. I think this is just another way to kind of expose and educate gamers in what is really out there in the gaming sphere, because you don't know what kind of people you're going to be interacting with. So I think this is good for anyone to listen to, not just parents. But I hope you all will be coming back whenever we decide to do this again. I appreciate every one of you coming on. And for those listening to us, you can find us on Twitch Thursday nights, usually at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when we normally do our podcasts. And you can also find us on Friday nights at 8:30 when we are doing our game nights on the Master Chief Collection. That is Fraggin' Fridays, hosted by Godzilla T. And then Mr. Hassas has his Man Up Mondays that he plays with the Rectify guys on the Master Chief Collection as well.
Should be called Woman Up.
Woman Up.
Thank you.
We've discussed
Person
a name
up.
change.
Person Up.
We've discussed a name
Person Up.
change.
Player Up.
But have you seen Haas? Not much of a man. So
Wow.
Dang.
Oh.
Wow,
Right.
that went
Either
downhill.
half
All right.
I can say
Okay.
that because we're real life friends now.
Holy.
What? I think you mean to say you were real life friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you just told a Texan he wasn't a real man. What were you thinking?
Well, no.
Oh.
Ducain's a Texan.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
I'm in Washington, which people have their opinions on, and they're probably right.
You notice I didn't
The
say
state or
anything.
the district? Which one?
The state.
Okay.
And again, I didn't say anything.
I don't affiliate with them.
Well,
Oh my.
well, to close that, if you're in Washington, are you going to the Destiny in a Pub event at Bellevue, underneath Bungie's headquarters?
It could be happening. I went for the launch.
Some of the dames are.
I might be there. I haven't decided yet. I live a busy life.
If you're there in October, like if you live there, you should totally come to the meetup I'm planning when I go. Just saying.
Well,
I want to meet you people.
You got my handle.
Got your handle.
Wow.
That's how we talk.
That is not what I. We need to end now.
Yeah.
We're done. Bye.
Yeah, just at me the details.
All right.
I'll twit
All
you.
right. I'll twit you.
Uh,
Oh gosh. All right. Check us out on our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that fun stuff. And also check out our podcast network. We are part of thepodcast.net. That is THEPODCAST.net, with podcasts such as Critscast, which is a TF2 podcast, Guardians of Destiny, which is a Destiny podcast, or sorry, Guardian Radio. Guardians of Destiny is the website. Sorry. There's also the Learning Cliff, which is an EVE Online podcast, and also Work in Progress and How to Murder Time. We're supposed to do a joint podcast at some point since the Learning Cliff got added to the podcast network. Not sure when that's going to happen, if that's going to happen, but whenever that does happen, we will let you know. But yeah, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you check out our website, podtacular.com, and we'll have plenty of videos coming to our YouTube channel pretty soon. We have one from GT coming up, and I know there's plenty of video that was taken at our anniversary party during RTX, so I'm sure there'll be some videos up there as well. So again, thank you for all of our guests tonight for coming on. Mr. Ducain, Miss Ovaryacting, Miss Belle, Mr. Axe,
I know what you're
and
talking
Mr.
about.
Grimm. Thank you for coming on and participating, and hopefully we'll have you guys on next time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Having us.
All right. Until
Have a good one.
next time, keep on fragging awesome parents.